You see downtown Jacksonville, just a few miles away from Skinner Barco Stadium on the Bolles School campus, the site of the WWGA Gold City Showcase, and Game 2 of the weekend. Game 1 today about ready to kick off as Terrell Sheely will tee it up for Ribault. The Trojans in the white uniforms and the dark blue helmets. Creekside going their traditional home look, red and black with the black helmets. And it'll be Landon Frazier and Maxwell Robinson back deep to return the opening kickoff for the Knights, who will have it first. Creekside 5-5 last year under Sean McIntyre, and they have moved up to 8A this year, so a challenging schedule awaits, and it starts here with the Trojans of Ribault. Here is the return out past the 35 to the 38-yard line by Maxwell Robinson, one of the leading receivers on this team and one of 20 seniors on the Creekside roster. As Creekside will have the ball first, but there is a penalty marker down.
Almost got to the 40,
It looks like they picked it up. So after we saw a penalty-filled game yesterday,
here we go.
See if we see a lot of the laundry on the field in this one. Typically, you see that in the first game of the season. Jacob Denny is the quarterback for Creekside. We expect to see both him and Wilson Edwards at QB, but a lot of this guy, Preston Strope, right up the gut on the first play of the ball game. And let's meet the Creekside starters.
Jacob Denny, quarterback.
Avery Swinton, left tackle.
Jacob Robertson, left guard.
Jojo Lima, center. Matt Horniak, right guard.
Jacob Eagle, right tackle. Preston Strope, running back.
Paul Wood, wide receiver.
Maxwell Robinson, wide receiver.
Brandon Mcmillan, wide receiver. Vincent Alvarado, tight end.
That is our Covenant Roofing starting lineups on offense for Creekside. And you saw Strope stop for a loss on his second run. As we mentioned, Joe, this could be the year of the running back in Northeast Florida, and Strope is one of those leading runners we expect to see have a big year. He will be a key for Ribault to stop in this one. And here's Denny on the scramble from the quarterback position, able to lunge past the 40 near a first down for Creekside. Let's meet the starters on defense for Ribault.
Roger Barnes, defensive end. Carmelo Cooper, defensive tackle.
Octavius Green, defensive tackle.
Breon Jordan, linebacker.
Jalen Clark, linebacker.
Christian Castleberry, outside linebacker. Malik White, cornerback. Kobe Smith, cornerback. Ande King, safety. DeMontre Glee, safety.
And Strope comes into the backfield. They'll give it to him. He's got the first down, running behind that senior-laden offensive line. All 5 starters on the offensive line for Creekside are seniors, and most of them, Joe, have been playing football together since they were in middle school, some playing since they were together in Pee Wee ball back in elementary school.
You know what, Cole? It shows. These guys are working well together, and I love the way Creekside has started off their offensive drive. They've taken their monster back there, Strope, and he is just running, and they're letting him carry the way. But watch what Ribault does here. Great play on the defensive line. They're shedding those offensive blocks, making a great play inside.
Strope has already carried the ball 4 times for 15 yards. This will be a 2nd and 10 play for the Knights. They'll send Strope out of the backfield. Denny was going to run it, hit and dropped in the backfield. So quick pursuit by the Ribault defense. Zavontre Brown, the senior defensive end, got back there in a hurry.
This is a really nice play by Brown, coming off the ball, ignoring the little play action. They don't replay, but they took Strope and they threw him out there to the flat, trying to get everybody to pay attention. When you have somebody like Preston Strope, the defense is going to pay attention to him no matter where he is on the field. It's a key for him. And so when you take him and put him out there with the way the defense keys the ball, because the ball is what matters. Great play by the defensive end.
3rd and 14 from the 40-yard line. Denny will throw it. Looking for somebody. Running out of time. Now Strope breaks free, and he drops one that would have been a first down and perhaps more. And there is a penalty marker down at the end of the play, dropped at the 35-yard line. Strope, not known for his pass catching. He's the guy they turn and hand it to. And this is one he'll want to have back.
You know, this is just one of those things that as a running back, you got to catch the ball. Hey, we're expecting you to make big plays, Preston. Just catch that ball when it's thrown to you. Could have been 6, Cole. It was just a nice little broken screen play put on by 2 guys trying to play some pitch and catch.
And the penalty declined, so it'll be 4th down, and a punting situation coming on here for Creekside. So they got the running game going a bit, but could not keep things going once they crossed midfield.
Back to receive for Ribault, number 5, Jordan Williams.
So here's Christian Yusufzada, who will punt it away, a defensive end and punter. And this one is high and hanging, trying to pin it down deep, and inside the 5, touchdown at the 1. So well done by Yusufzada and the coverage team. It'll be the long field for Ribault.
You know, Yusufzada, a great defensive end. He's going to Army next year. But guess what? The kid can also punt the ball. That is a great textbook inside the 20 punt. First and 99 Trojans.
We'll see the Trojans offense led by the junior quarterback Nick Jones, number 1 there. Again, we mentioned he threw all of 1 pass a year ago. And now he has 99 yards facing him on his first snap as a starter. Jamari Williams, the running back. We'll also see Sincere Cohen. In fact, it's Cohen who gets the start behind Jones. We've reset things and now ready to go as Ribault gets things started in Marlon White's 2nd season as head coach. They're able to draw the Creekside defense offside.
Offsides. Defense, number 95. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Chris Poole, the referee.
You know, I like this call by Marlon White. Going a hard count. Coach White going a hard count. He's backed up. He snuck out. He stole 5 yards back after a great punt by Creekside.
So 1st and 5. And Jones will give it to Cohen. Stacked up in the middle of the line. Maybe a gain of a yard. Let's meet the starters on offense for the Ribault Trojans.
Nick Jones, quarterback. Jamal Mason, offensive tackle. Deshaun Jones, offensive guard. Jordan Matthews, center. Daquante Cooper, offensive guard. Gary Davis Jr., offensive tackle. Sincere Cohen, running back. Jamari Williams, running back. Christian Castleberry, tight end. KJ Stokes, receiver. Jordan Smith, wide receiver. Eddie Rolak, wide receiver. Calvin Gilbert, wide receiver.
On 2nd down and 4, Jones to throw, and it is almost intercepted. Wasn't intercepted. It was picked off by Creekside. A huge play by the Knights defense made by Carter McKeachin, and the Knights will have excellent field position after the pickoff.
This is an amazing play by the defensive back. Nick Jones trying to throw the flat route, throws it where he thinks only his receiver can get the ball, but number 14, Carter McClellan, comes in and makes an amazing play. What a great catch. You know, put this guy on offense, because normally you put guys on defense who can't catch the ball. Not at Creekside. They put somebody over there who scoops it off the turf, makes a great play. Great call by the officials. 1st down and goal, Creekside.
And you can see on the About 9 Associates replay, ball banged around a little bit under there, but they give McKeachin the interception. He had 3 pickoffs a year ago. So Creekside now back on offense. And they'll feed Preston Strope, running behind left guard. Got maybe a yard. One of the things that's going to be interesting to follow as this game goes on, Strope is such a physical runner, and Ribault is a speed defense. They've got a 186-pound defensive tackle, for instance, playing in there at times. They do have a little more bulk on the offensive side, but they're really more of a speed defense. So will the speed defense be able to stop the power running of Preston Strope with that big offensive line of Creekside?
You know, this is the battle we're going to get to watch all day, Cole. It's going to be fun. Can the speed handle the power? Will they be able to handle the heat? Who's going to tire up first? Which is going to break fastest? It's going to be fun to watch. Nice little play here.
Denny on second and goal keeps it and is spun down to the 5-yard line after a gain of 4. Take another look here at Denny, keeping it himself.
You know, he just tucked that ball. He saw that Strope didn't have anything. If he handed it off to him, nice quarterback option, pulling it back down, running, picking up a couple yards.
Denny, a transfer, making his Creekside debut today. Came from Christchurch Academy. Coming in his senior year. And there are high expectations that this could be potentially Creekside's best team in school history. 3rd and goal from the 5. Denny fakes it to Strope and rolls. Dunks it off short, caught, and sliding out is Vincent Approvato, a multi-sport athlete playing tight end here, also competes in weightlifting and wrestling. And the Knights are on the doorstep. We'll take time out for a hydration break brought to you by WWGA. Back with more of the first quarter right after this.
The WWGA Mechanical Contractor Bold City Showcase is brought to you by WWGA Mechanical Contractor, Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute, and Baptist Health System.
Creekside trying to take advantage of the turnover. Going to go for it on 4th and goal from the 3-yard line, and they have a full house backfield right now, including Preston Strope, who will be the deep man. Strope 12 yards on his first carry, but he's been contained ever since by the Ribault defense. Will he get it here? They'll give it to him. Big hole right side. Strope to the 1, pushing to the goal line. And they say down just inside the 1. What a stop by Ribault. The Creekside bench is signaling for a touchdown, but nobody in the striped shirts is saying so. So once again, big stop by Ribault, and the Trojans will start inside their own 1. Take another look at it, Joseph.
This is a great tackle by number 3, Glee, just meeting the powerhouse Strope in the backfield, stops him just inches shy of the end zone, although Strope keeps his legs charging, tries to make the call for the officials. They made a great call, just came up a little bit shy.
Breon Jordan also in there, second man in to stop that, because I think if only one guy is there to try to stop Strope, he probably is in. Team defense and swarming tackling by the Trojans, and Ribault will take over, if it's possible, even closer to their own goal line this time around than they did when they started on the 1 in their first possession. Now inside the 1, and Nick Jones has seen the long field so far in his 2 series, and a whistle blows before the snap. If they were resetting the play clock here. You don't have to worry about jumping off sides if you're Ribault here. Half the distance doesn't hurt you.
No, not at all. But this is not where you want to start your offensive drive. The first 2 drives inside the 1-yard line as an offense for Ribault. That's a tough place to go. Tough sledding back there.
And they will hand it off. Running to the right is Jamari Williams. Let's meet the starters on defense for Creekside as the Knights get out there.
Chris Huber, defensive end.
Ian Calhoun, defensive tackle.
Alex Thompson, linebacker.
Ian Mooney, linebacker. Nathan Hernandez, linebacker.
Ryan Bermel, middle linebacker.
Vincent Approvato, outside linebacker. Christian Yusufzada, outside linebacker.
Brian Hardiman, quarterback.
Anthony Akel, safety. Carmen Teachin, safety.
Landon Frazier, strong safety.
There are the Covenant Roofing starting lineups on defense for Creekside. Now 2nd down and 6 from near the 5, and in the end zone, a big hit and a safety. What a hit by Approvato, who came flying in from his linebacker spot and gives Creekside the first points of the ball game.
You know, this is a momentum changer. Creekside has changed the field position. They're making Ribault go the long field. What a great play here. Let's watch it. Just sheds the block. Textbook, slides in. Great tackle. 6-inch rising blow, top of the shoulder pads. Great play by the Iron Man, Vincent Approvato. You know, the tight end linebacker, 6 foot, 215. Man, just meeting the running back square in the hole. Nowhere to go when you meet the Knights like that.
We talked last night with West Nassau, who had half a dozen players playing both ways. Creekside does not have a lack of numbers. This is a big roster, but when you've got a player playing both ways, as Aprobado does, he's already making an impact. The safety today, and also had the big catch as a tight end, so he's contributing on both sides of the football here in the first half.
You know, Cole, some guys, you know, when the cameras turn on and the lights turn up, you know, or they, however you want to say that, they come to play, and it looks like Vince has come to play today.
So a free kick coming up for Ribault. They have the option for either a place kick or a punt here. Jalen Clark is the punter. And it looks like that's what they're going to opt for.
Cole, this is one of those things that early in the season, you might have only practiced this situation once or twice. So you got guys out there that are going, I don't know where to line up. We've only did this once in practice.
Pretty good punt here. This one is taken by Landon Frazier up the middle near the 50-yard line before he's chopped down. But good field position to start this drive for Creekside. Second straight time the Knights have had the ball. They'll start near or in Trojan territory with 4:45 to play in the first quarter. We expect this game to be a close game that could come down to who makes the fewest mistakes. I spoke with Marlon White, the head coach of Ribault, before the ball game, and he said their goal is to play a mistake-free game.
Which
I know that's
hard.
everybody's.
That's hard.
Yeah, especially first game of the season. Quick throw near side. Brendan Mcmillan the catch. The slot receiver for Creekside rolls forward into Trojans territory. Gain of a couple. And the clock will continue to run here in the first quarter. Mcmillan with 8 catches for 102 yards and a touchdown a year ago, and he has his first catch of 2021.
You know, nice play call by Coach McIntyre for Creekside. They're trying to loosen up the inside. Everybody's queuing on Strope, so try to loosen that inside of the defense up. Maybe get some running lanes for him.
Denny going to keep it himself this time. Able to gain a few past the 45 and to the 43-yard line. It'll bring up a 3rd down and 3 for Creekside. They have been relying on the running game as we anticipated, but we've seen plenty of the quarterback Jacob Denny carrying the ball himself. We'll see as the game progresses if we see more and more from Preston Strope, who so far has carried 6 times for 18 yards. 3rd and 3 in a tight formation for Creekside. Denny avoids pressure and then runs into 3 white shirts, able to push his way forward inside the 42-yard line. And this looks like probably 4-down territory, Joe, on 4th and 2 after the run here.
Yeah, this is just a broken protection up front from Creekside. Great rush by Ribault inside. I think I couldn't see what number that was, but nice little rush inside, flush Denny out of the pocket. Really nowhere to go. 4th and 2. Let's go for it.
They will do so with 3 receivers, a tight end, and a running back, and able to pull Ribault offside. So first down the easy way there for Creekside.
Absolutely. Hey, discipline on those situations are key, but you're excited on the defensive side of the ball. You want to get in there, make a play, want to make a big stop, get the change of possession. It's one of those things early in the season. Hard to hold your water on both sides of the ball. Great job by the offensive line to hold their water there.
It's interesting as you think about the kind of experience on each sideline as far as the coaches are concerned. We'll get into that here in just a moment, as Denny will throw it on 1st down, going long into double coverage, and this one is intercepted by Ribault at the 1-yard line and going into the end zone with the momentum. It was picked off by Demontrio Glee, the free safety, and Ribault will take over on their own 20 after the pick. This one was hanging up there in the air, and Glee just tracked it the whole way.
Denny trying to take a shot to number 2, Maxwell Robinson, just overthrew his receiver. Great play by the free safety. Glee goes up, catches the ball at its highest point. Take a safety or take a touchback. 1st and 10, 1st and 80 on the 20.
So getting back to the point about the experience of the 2 coaches, for Ribault, you've got Marlon White in his 2nd season as a head coach. He came from North Carolina, where he'd been an assistant in the state of North Carolina, not University of, but this was his first head coaching job in high school. And he had to come in sort of late in the process amid a pandemic and try to get his stamp put on a program. Very difficult to do. They had a slow start, then Ribault really caught fire late in the season. And now Jones is going to go long, has a man out there. It is caught, and goodbye on the run. Touchdown, Ribault. 80 yards, Calvin Gilbert on the receiving end.
Calvin Gilbert, Nick Jones to Calvin Gilbert. What a great play. 80-yard touchdown strike by Ribault. This team is explosive. They make big plays. Great route. Great protection up front by the big fellas. And Nick Jones showing us why he's got that cannon of an arm, outrunning everybody.
Gilbert, a 6'4" junior, the long strider, and took it the distance, 80 yards for the score. Calvin Gilbert with a touchdown, and Ribault out in front now, 6-2, with the extra point coming up here by Jarrell Shealy. So getting back to the point about the Trojans, they had only one win during the regular season, but because everybody got in the playoffs, they had the opportunity in the postseason, won a couple games in the playoffs before losing to Tallahassee Rickards. And that success late in the season carrying over here to the early stages in 2021. As you see that ball put right on the money for Gilbert.
What a great throw from a guy who didn't throw the ball all last year, basically at all. Nick Jones right in stride. Great toss, pretty ball, great read for the quarterback as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank all the sponsors here.
So there is Marlon White, his team in 5A, District 3, and what a start to the season. Creekside here in the opener, and then they'll go to Trinity Christian to play the team that opened #1 and just beat Rains, Ribault's big rival. Then a matchup against Riverside, another team ranked in the top 10 in our area. So there is no doubt that Ribault will know their strengths and weaknesses by the time those first 3 games are in the books.
They're going to know a lot about themselves after these first 3 games.
So how will Creekside respond now? They've had some big opportunities but haven't been able to capitalize. Line drive kick. This one taken by Robinson, coming right up the middle and up to the 37-yard line. So Creekside will take over. So to contrast the coaching, the experience on the other side of the ball for Creekside, as you see Sean McIntyre, he's really built this Creekside program over the last 5 years. He's the son of a high school football coach. His father-in-law, a high school football coach. And to talk about the, having it in the genes, it's been in the family. And so much of what he does has been all about developing the program. And it's exactly what Marlon White's trying to do on the other sideline, is put his stamp on the program. So here is Denny going to run it on first down for Creekside. Penalty marker in as Denny crosses the 45.
Little quarterback draw for Denny, trying to, again, just get the eyes off Preston Stroke.
Holding. Offense, number 8. 10-yard penalty. Still first down.
That's Aprobato, who made regionals in wrestling, doing a little grappling there from his tight end position.
Coaches always say wrestlers make really good football players because that toughness, that ability to use your hands, your body, your weight to throw things around. But sometimes you get a little handsy.
Happened there.
I get it.
So they'll mark him back to the 30-yard line. And it's a 1st and 20. A few raindrops falling here at Bolles. We had a brief shower before the game. Quick throw to the near side. This one caught by Brendan Mcmillan. But he will lose yardage.
Brendan Mcmillan, short game.
Quickly covered up by the Ribault defense.
Nice play out here by Malik White. Cornerback for Ribault. Just really nice play. Comes up. Open field tackles are hard. It's hard to make open field tackles against good wide receivers, guys with the ball. Nice job.
2nd down and a mile. I'll give it to Strope.
Hand off to Preston Strope.
He picks up about 6, but it'll bring up a
5 on the play.
3rd down and very long for Creekside. Creekside would like to play in front of the chains and like to have the option to run or pass on 2nd and 3rd down. And with Strope back there running the ball, want to get him into a bit of a rhythm as a power back.
You know, 3rd and 19 is not a manageable 3rd down for Creekside, but they've got a lot of weapons.
Here's Denny going to throw it. Throws. This time Strope with the catch. An inside move. Dives back to the original line of scrimmage. And it'll bring up a 4th down and 9. Strope had 4 catches last year, all of last season. And this is his first reception of 2021.
Nice catch, nice balance. Kind of stumbles. Gives his punter a little extra room.
Strope is a guy really leads by example. And talking with some of his offensive linemen, they love to block for him. They know he's going to get in there and bring some power. Line drive, punt by Yusef Zada. And what an open field tackle by Creekside.
Nice tackle by number 19, Caleb Allen.
Let's head down to the sidelines and check in with the 3rd member of our broadcast team, Donna Murphy.
Yeah, thanks, guys. We're actually here today after a 3 o'clock tip, and it's all because of the Zachary Martin Act, which is a new Florida act that was put in place last year in 2020. Now, that is meant to protect the health and safety of the high schoolers while participating in clubs and sports year-round. And then they use a wet bulb thermometer. It is used to measure the humidity of temperature. Now, the family of Zachary Martin were able to get this passed so that awareness and prevention can be put in place for these young athletes to not have to suffer any heat stroke illness. Back to you guys.
All right, Donna, thank you very much. There is definitely a lot more of a focus on player health now than several years ago. You talked about the wet bulb readings as well as keeping an eye out for head injuries and so forth. High school football has come a long, long way. We've played the first quarter here at Bolles. Ribault a 7-2 lead in the WWGA Bolles City Showcase. Back with a second after this. We sail into the second quarter of the WWGA Bolles City Showcase. Let's check in once again with Don on the sidelines.
Well, I'm here with Tom Rao with CSI Companies. All right, Tom, so you guys have the leading recruiting firm here in Jacksonville. How has CSI Companies helped with High School 912 and with Bolles City Showcase?
Sure. Well, one of our goals is always to give back to the community. So we've been partnering with High School 912 for about 2 years now. And it's just great to be able to give some resources back for our student athletes here in Jacksonville.
And Jacksonville is obviously a huge growing city. How else can you help the city and their local businesses?
Sure. Well, lately we've had a lot of companies in the last couple of years expand or relocate to Jacksonville. So we help them with market insights and how they can build their workforce and really ultimately help them find talent for their businesses.
Well, thanks so much, Tom. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Back to you, Cole.
All right, Donna, thanks very much. Creekside getting a sideline warning while we were in the interview. So it'll be a 2nd down and 9 for Nick Jones and the Ribault Trojans, who come out in a 4 wide receiver set. Jones coming off that 80-yard touchdown pass to Calvin Gilbert, and now a flag as there's a motion up front for Creekside. So the first varsity completion for Nick Jones goes for 80 yards and a touchdown.
It's not a bad way to start off your varsity football career.
All start. Offense, number 77, 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
We get big Deshaun Jones, 6'2", 295 at left tackle, moving for Ribault. And if he moves, you'll see it. In case you're just joining us, here's what the first quarter brought us. After a safety turned in by Vincent Approbato for Creekside, Nick Jones, the 80-yard touchdown to Calvin Gilbert to give Ribault the lead, and that's where we are at 7-2. Jones to throw it, looking long again, looking deep, and overshoots his intended target. You can see the arm strength that Jones has, but this time not able to hook up with Calvin Gilbert.
Nice throw by Nick Jones, though. I mean, airing it out. Why not take another shot deep? I mean, it worked once. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
And what wind there is in the face of Jones, so you see the arm strength throw it that
really
far into the wind.
Didn't affect anything. When you throw that, he throws a really tight spiral on his ball. It doesn't affect a thing.
So 3rd down and 14 from the Ribault 26-yard line. Jones under pressure, trying to get away, and just runs out of bounds. Gained a yard, maybe 2.
Run for number 1, Nick Jones of Ribault.
Bring up 4th down, and you would think at this point a punting situation for Ribault. You would think that the pace of this game would favor Ribault the way it's going right now. Not only do they have the touchdown, but they're getting out there in a lot of snaps, and with the explosive athletes that Ribault has on the outside, more opportunities to take a shot, more likely they are to find the end zone as they did in the first quarter.
Absolutely. I think Creekside on the opposite side of the ball, they want to grind it out. They want to use their workhorse stroke. They want to run the ball. They want to take long, methodical drives and allow the heat to affect the speed of Ribault. But right now, Ribault's having their way with Creekside.
Brendan Mcmillan back to return this punt. It is nearly blocked. They run into the punter. There's a flag down. Very short punt covered up by Ribault at about the 38-yard line, but there was some serious contact between the Creekside special teams and the Ribault punter.
Foul, roughing the kicker. Defense, 15-yard penalty.
And that will give Ribault a first down. So we talked about mistakes and how those can crop up, particularly early in the season like this, Joe. There's a mistake on special teams.
That is a big, big, big mistake. If you're going to block a kick, if you're going to run to a kicker, you got to get a hand on the ball. He didn't. Ran it in a kicker. First down, Ribault. Let's take a look. Just, yep, number 10 just comes in and absolutely, you know, you go down to block a punt. Everybody thinks you go up to block a punt. No, you put your hands down low, cross your hands. You go down to block a punt, up to block a kick. Two different things. Again, early in the season, one of those things that most teams don't really work on, but it's a technique that you have to know to play the game of football. You want to block a punt, you go down. You take the ball off the punter's foot. You don't jump in the air like you're trying to block a shot in basketball. Go down.
Anderson did everything else right, got there in great shape, was right there and did everything but block the punt.
But block the punt. That's the hard part. And in that situation, sometimes, I'm sure Coach Mack probably practiced it during the season. It's just one of those things you just forget in the heat of battle.
All right, let's go down and check in with Donna again.
Thanks, Cole. After hearing the news of former Ribault coach Lynn Shell passing away earlier this year, I asked Coach White about what Lynn Shell meant to this program, and Coach was all smiles, actually. He said Lynn Shell was always smiling, he had the best personality, and made sure that the kids always came first. That's what he brought to this program. Cole?
Yeah, Lynn J. Shell, star at JU, and make the case that he was the best player in that JU football program. Certainly one of those in consideration. Had a terrific career in arena ball and in Canada, and then came back and sort of forced into a couple of years ago as the head coach when there was a late coaching change, and he was at Ribault teaching and was able to take over. Was set to start with Jackson as an assistant. Passed away tragically. And certainly has put his stamp on both the Ribault and looks at Jackson as well. Everybody who's been around Lynn J. Shell speaks very highly of that young man.
You know, Cole, it's just a sad story, but you have a coach who impacted players' lives in a positive way, and he's leaving a legacy that's still continuing out on the field. This team at Ribault is not only playing for this season, but they're playing for a coach that they all loved so dearly.
A second down and 7 now for Ribault. Jones will hand it off to Jamari Williams, who's hit the backfield, and down he goes. Ian Calhoun, the Lafayette commit, from his defensive tackle spot, knifed right through to make the stop. Take another look on the Mountain Eye and Associates replay monitor.
Big Ian Calhoun throwing the forearm shiver, and he's not going against a little offensive lineman there. Throwing the shiver, continues to work his way upfield. Great tackle for a loss for the big fella.
Well, third down and 11 now. And again, we're seeing sort of what we expected play out here, Joe, where it's the big play sporadically for the Trojans on offense, and then the grinded out approach for Creekside on offense. So far, the big play has the edge over the grind.
It certainly does. But 7-2, you know, Ribault over Creekside. We're still in the heart of the game. A lot of football left to play. It's going to be fun as we continue on. Which side of it's going to win out? Is Ribault going to continue to throw big plays? Are they going to continue to try these deep shots? Are they going to break one out the middle? Or is Creekside, are they going to begin to assert their dominance, their strength, their power that they worked so hard in the weight room on? Are they going to be able to start wearing down these Ribault Trojans?
Now that is a CSI Company's timeout. Last night, the WWGA Bolles City Showcase kicked off with the Bolles Bulldogs and Cade Frew turning in a huge first half performance. 10 carries in the first 2 quarters, 172 yards, and 4 touchdowns. And Frew put his stamp on the kickoff to the season.
Can't start a season better than Frew did last night. Ton of points for my high school fantasy football team. Frew last night. So thanks, Cade. I appreciate it. I'm in first place. It's wonderful.
And we'll see if Bolles can unseat Trinity Christian in the News 4 Jack Super 10. Both teams winning on opening weekend. Here's Jones, pressured, throws it away. It's incomplete, but that's going to be intentional grounding as Creekside got a lot of pressure. The whole defensive front was up there, including Christian Youssef Zada, who has the ball in his hands, but we'll hear what Chris Spool, the referee, has to say about it.
Intentional grounding. Offense number 1. Lost it down. 5-yard penalty.
So this was an easy call for the referee, who was standing right there. And Jones a little slow coming off the field as well. Marlon White out to have a word with the referee. Not much to argue here, though, Joe.
No, not much at all. You know, number 9, is that number 9 coming through there? Or number 8, Vincent Approbato, again. We've called his name a lot. Great off-the-edge rush. Nice tackle. Nick Jones trying to do something, just trying to get the ball out of his hands, maybe get a call, but not when the official's standing that close to you. He had his eyes on the play.
Approbato has been everywhere so far in this first half. Forced the safety. You see his numbers from a year ago as a junior. But again, another one of these 20 seniors. That is an unusually high number for a high school football team.
It is unusually high, but a lot of these guys have experience, and Coach McIntyre is going to try to play into that. Whoa, careful. Oh, goodness. See, we went down.
Once again, this one was touched, and so special teams giveth and special teams taketh away. And Creekside will once again have great starting field position after the partially blocked punt.
Football is a game of 3 phases: offense, defense, and special teams. You've got to be good on all 3 phases. Great rush here. Again, went a little high, but did get his hand on the ball. Number 17, Nathan Hernandez touched the ball. Blocked punt.
So here we go with 9:13 to play before halftime. Creekside again starting a drive inside Trojans territory. Denny will hand it off. This is Stroke. Cutting it back, puts down a shoulder, and drives his way inside the 5-yard line. Ever since Stroke had 12 yards on the opening carry, hasn't really been able to break free, but he does here.
You know, this is a great run by Stroke behind this very experienced offensive line. Great kick-out block, 73-62, sealed, trap, power play, and then let Stroke do his thing.
So 1st and goal from the 5. They'll hand it off to Stroke, who dives in. Touchdown Creekside. 2 plays after the block punt. The Knights retake the lead.
You know, maybe Stroke heard we were talking about Cade Frew, said, hey, I got to get my name out there. I got to put my number on the board. Power running through, lowers the shoulder pads, touchdown. Hopefully, big number 77, Matt McCoy's okay. As an offensive lineman, he takes some hits in the back of the leg. Hopefully he's okay. Looks like he's still down on the field, but great block by that guy. 3 yards downfield, still blocking.
You see Strope's numbers: 9 carries, 33 yards. Make it 44 yards for Strope after the touchdown run of 5. So now we'll see with Matt McCoy, all 6'6", 235 of him, the senior left tackle, coming off the field. Looks like he's going to be all right.
Yeah, he's looking good. He's moving nimble. He's a live fella, that guy, Matt McCoy. He looks good. I think he's going to be back.
So now, time for the field goal attempt to the extra point. It is up, and it is good with 8:39 to play in the second quarter. Creekside has jumped out to a 9-7 lead. Take one more look at Preston Strope getting it done, running hard up the middle.
Power football at its best. JoJo Lima, Noah Stone, Avon Swinton plowing the way for Preston Strope to put his shoulder down, give Creekside 6 big points.
And you see it again there on the Bout 9 Associates replay.
You know, on a Saturday afternoon, Cole, watching power football, watching guys block, watching guys run the way Strope's running is certainly fun to see.
We saw the big performance by Cade Frew last night, as you see the short scoring drive. And we expected that there could be another big individual performance today. We haven't seen anything of that level just yet, but if Strope gets into a rhythm, watch out, he can start piling up the carries and the yards.
You know, he and Frew are two different types of running backs. Frew's a little bit quicker, a little bit faster, open field speed. Strope, power, power, power. He wants to punish you on defense. He wants to wear you out. He wants to hit you hard. He kind of takes the mentality of Coach McIntyre on the sidelines. Coach Mac's that high intensity. He wants to get things going, play hard, play tough.
Tanner Griffin with the kickoff.
Nice kick, touchback.
Griffith handling kickoffs while Cooper Maurer handled the extra point. A couple of different legs utilized by Creekside. And now we'll see how Nick Jones is able to respond. He was shaken up a bit on the third down play before the punt was blocked. Now coming back out once again, the junior quarterback for the Ribault Trojan.
We've got ourselves a fantastic football game here in the second quarter. Watching these two teams go at it, battling back and forth, field position, big plays, grinded football, hard-hitting tackles. This has been fun to watch so far, Cole.
First game of the year always brings some unevenness because you haven't had the time in, haven't played a game.
There's no preseason games for high school.
You know, just get the one classic. Yep, and then you add the extra component of playing on TV, which is unusual for most of these teams. Calvin Gilbert with a catch. Beg your pardon, that's Kevin Stokes. But you see some guys who are turning in big plays. And let's take a look from above, from Sky 4. This is the bird's eye view.
I like the bird's eye view. Yeah. See, you and I might have been able to run through that hole that Creekside offensive line gave Strope to run through. Nice hole by that very senior offensive line.
Talking to Marlon White about playing this game in a featured game. He says, once a year we have the same kind of hype going around a game, except it's different. Now it's early in the season. Talking, of course, about the Reigns game that has a lot of attention. Sincere Cohen on the run. Past the 40-yard line, going to be very close to a first down with a dive at the end. He says the kids are not that thrown off by the cameras, but we'll see what happens when the buzzer hits. When the buzzer is hit, and they don't look like they've been thrown by the cameras
Sincere Cohen
so far.
leaving a little bit of his T-shirt behind. You can't tackle a guy by a T-shirt these days. I mean, they have those tearaway shirts. You used to have tearaway jerseys back in the day.
And now a penalty marker thrown on the near side, right in front of the Creekside bench.
Sideline warning. Creekside. That's going to be a 5-yard penalty. Still first.
That is not going to make Coach McIntyre happy. Look at his face. He is fired. You can't give away 5 yards in a close game like this. Every single yard counts.
Joe, you know, Sean McIntyre is a guy who's a high-energy guy.
Very high energy.
And it's not just him. They get other guys who are creeping up on the sidelines. It's something that the referees are making a focus this year. Here's Cohen again, trying to cut back, dives forward to the 49-yard line.
Jones to Cohen, number
good hard
arms
running.
of Ashton Anderson.
And good tackle by Ashton Anderson. That's a big man. Sincere Cohen, 6 foot 220, all muscle. That's a hard tackle. Good job.
Cohen last year, 22 carries, 75 yards and a touchdown. The third running back who we may see, we've already seen on defense, Demontrio Glee had 21 carries, 63 yards, but Ribault not returning a ton of experience running the ball this year. A lot of new faces on the offense for the Trojans. 2nd down and 4. Jones to throw, throws it out wide. It's caught, and on the far side,
Pass complete to number 2, Kenneth Fedd.
Kenneth Fedd, the only returning player with a reception from last year. Taking a look at the arm here by Nick Jones.
Nick Jones, long distance dedication to Kenneth Fedd. Just playing pitch and catch like you draw it up in the street. Great throw, great catch.
What you want to see is in that situation, the receiver keeps his feet on the ground and keeps reaching for the stars.
What you'd like to see was stick his foot in the ground and run on field.
We'll take time out for a hydration break here, brought to you by WWGA. It's the Bolles City Showcase with Ribault and Creekside going at it here at Bolles.
The WWGA Mechanical Contractor Bolles City Showcase is brought to you by Moe's Southwest Grill, High School 912, and CSI Companies.
6:28 to play in the first half. Creekside leading 9-7 over Ribault. Let's check in with Donna.
Sackstetter of JOI at the Fleming Island location. Welcome to the JOI family, by the way. So we're coming out of the hydration break right now. How important is the hydration process?
Oh, yeah, it's incredibly important for these athletes to stay hydrated during these hot weather. You know, whether you're in the fan in the stadium or an athlete on the field or a newscaster on the sidelines, it's 8 ounces of water every 15 minutes. And if you're starting to feel lightheaded or dizzy, you got to stop and take a break.
I was going to ask you that. The athletes on the field aren't the only ones. You have the athletes, you have the cheerleaders right here on the track, you have the band, and you also have, you know, the fans in the stands. So what else do they need to do other than drink the water?
Yeah, as best you can, you got to seek out shade. If you start to feel lightheaded, you know, get in the shade as quickly as you can and just keep drinking that water.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Back to you, Cole.
All right, thank you, Donna. 1st and 10 for Ribault. Jones will hand it off. Sincere Cohen hit behind the line of scrimmage and dragged down. Vincent Zaprabato back there, and now some pushing and shoving after the play on the near side. Yusef Zada was in there to make the tackle as well, but a penalty marker down for some extracurriculars away from the play.
You know, I'm not worried about the extracurriculars down here. Guys playing with emotion. Great gang tackling by the Creekside Knights on that play. Again, Vincent Zaprabato, we're saying his name all day long. Great gang tackle. Cole, I don't know about you, but I'm trying to stay hydrated up here in the booth as well. It's hot today.
Yeah, I mean, it's a warm day, whether you have the benefit of the air conditioning here in the booth or not.
No, so all you folks staying at home watching this game on TV and your air conditioning, man, you picked the right way to watch this game. You've got a great game on TV. You've got your air conditioning, some snacks, some cold drinks. Reminder, stay hydrated even if you're out here inside it.
Personal foul, number 5, defense. Personal foul, number 25 to the offense. So the penalty is going to offset. Replay first down.
Take another look at the gang tackling on the Now 9 Associates replay monitor.
Tackle by committee. Yusef, right? Is that how you say it?
Yusef Zada.
Yusef Zada. I can't pronounce anything, and he's playing so well. Christian is playing so well up here. You've got him. You've got Zaprabato. Calhoun, I think, was in on there. Great play.
So they will replay the call. Jones to throw it. Has time in the pocket, fires, and a catch on the far side. Kenneth Fedd got the feet down. K-Fed with the catch, and the chains will move for the Trojans.
It's becoming really clear that K-Fed is Nick Jones's favorite receiver. They've got a little connection going on. Great chemistry between quarterback and receiver. Great catch, extension, 2 feet down. That's good in the NFL, just in case you were wondering. He didn't have to put 1, he put 2 down. He said, hey, I'm going to show these NFL scouts that I can do it now.
If there are NFL scouts looking for prospects now, they're going way ahead of time. But
hey, it's never too early, Cole.
Right?
It's never too early to find a diamond in the rough.
Last year, 8 catches, 132 yards, 2 touchdowns for Fed. And this is a big tackle for loss by the Creekside defense. Again, a lot of red shirts out there to make the tackle. Taking a look here, Jamari Williams had no chance.
Great play, and guess who it is again?
Ribault.
This time joined by Harrison Mortz. Great play by Creekside. Again, playing defense by committee. Their defense is just like their offense. They want to hit you, they want to grind you, they want to put you in some pain.
Alex Thompson also involved in the stop there for Creekside. So 2nd and 16 now from the 38-yard line of the Knights as we go inside 4.5 minutes to play before halftime. Jones looking long, just fires one, and I think he more or less just threw this one away. Didn't have anybody open and just overshot everybody. Ribault willing to take the shots downfield, though, Joe.
Absolutely. They are an explosive offense. They've got a lot of speed at those receiver positions. And we've seen that Nick Jones has an absolute rifle for an arm. Can really just throw the ball. That was a good 45-yard throw in the air, and it was easy for him.
A great opportunity here for both these programs to make a statement. This game was supposed to be played last year, but was canceled by the pandemic, as so many were. So a lot of these guys, particularly seniors, have been waiting for this game for a couple of years. Jones under pressure again. Down he goes. Ball is out, and it is recovered by the Trojans. Yusef Zada got to Jones, hit him hard. The ball came out, and Approbato almost jumped on it. But one of the Ribault offensive linemen able to pounce on it. I think it was Jamal Mixon able to recover it.
Christian Yusef Zada, great rush. He's going to Army next year. What a great rush off the edge. Hard hit on Nick Jones. Ball comes loose. But we got 4th down.
So 4th down, and again, this is sort of an in-between position here. You can punt it or go for it here. And it looks like Ribault is going to opt to bring the punting team out. So Jalen Clark. And remember, they've had some issues with the punting game. One that was nearly blocked and another that was. And they get pressure again. This one, the time the punt is away. Mcmillan back to his 10. Will bring it to the near side. Trying to get to the edge. Turns the corner and run out of bounds. Let's go down once again to Donna Murphy.
All right, thanks, Cole. Yes, I'm here with Alan Verlander, founder of High School 912. Now, Alan, I believe you have a special presentation for Bob Ellis here.
We do. On behalf of High School 912, Bob has been such an important fixture in the world of high school sports, but not only high school, all of high schools. And we just want to thank you for everything you've done. It wouldn't have happened without your leadership and support and friendship. So on behalf, we want to present you the official game ball of the Bolles City Showcase, thanks to WWGA and our team.
That's really cool. This is, this event is so great, Donna, because, I remember the first conversation, Alan, I was just telling Donna, it was like 7 years ago, and I said, we're going to televise a high school football game. So 3 years ago, we did Mandarin Atlantic Coast, and then without you guys at Airstream Ventures and High School 912, this would not have happened. And so to watch 2 years ago, COVID last year, and then to be here today, this is absolutely incredible and has exceeded every expectation we could have ever had of a TV station. So it's really terrific.
Now, Bob, you're off to Detroit, so we just wanted to make sure we thanked you, and we wish you all the best in Detroit, okay? But we're not wishing for the best for the Lions at all.
Understandably so. I go from one city with a team, the Jaguars, to another city with a team, the Lions. So I can't catch a break.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Back to you, Cole.
All right, thank you, Donna. Here's Preston Strope running wide, able to turn the corner, gets the first down, past the 40 to the 41-yard line. Yeah, having been a part of all three of the high school broadcast events that we've had here on Channel 4, it has been quite a thing to see it develop over the years. That first year, Mandarin and Atlantic Coast, and watching how that played out. Then to see last year, 3 games in one day, 2 years ago, rather, 3 games in one day. And now, over the course of 2 days, 3 games here at Bolles.
It's a lot of fun, Cole, for us to showcase just the talent, the teams here on the First Coast. A lot of great football played here in North Florida. And the ability for Channel 4 to show these games, to give the fans what they want on a Saturday or a Friday night, you can't beat it.
And it really does give us a great platform as well to tell some of the stories around these schools throughout the course of the weeks leading up to the game. And that's exactly what we've been able to do. Andy King with a tackle for loss that time for Ribault. Brings up 2nd and 11 from the 40-yard line for Creekside. Denny's going to scramble left, now throw. Has a man open, and it is caught. And there you go, Maxwell Robinson, touchdown on the deep ball, 60 yards on the big strike for Creekside.
Great pitch, great catch, in stride, left-handed, Jacob Denny throwing deep, Maxwell Robinson. You know, I've been talking all day about how Creekside wants to grind it out, but guess what? They're explosive as well. Look at this ball get thrown right in stride. That ball hung up there for a long time. Great route by Maxwell Robinson getting behind the defense, and then it's off to the races. Touchdown, Knights.
So Creekside able to stretch the lead to 15-7, looking for 16 here with the extra point. Cooper Maurer on to kick the PAT. And the extra point is up and good. 1:14 to play before halftime. Creekside extends the lead, 16-7. The Knights out on top. You take another look at the Mountain 9 Associates replay monitor. And as you said, the ball spent some time in the air, but came right down in the hands of Maxwell Robinson.
Jacob Denny given just enough time by his offensive line, trusts him, sits in the pocket. He's going to take a hit after he throws, but perfect spiral. Look at that ball in the air in the hands of Maxwell Robinson. Touchdown, Creekside.
Well, we expected the big plays from Ribault, but we've seen a couple of big plays from Creekside as well, Joe.
We're being surprised. This is early. Like, hey, you know, sometimes just got to overcome the announcing that we're doing here in the booth, you know?
This is a Creekside team that if you walk into the weight room at Creekside, there are 5 foundational words or phrases on the wall. Toughness, commitment, attitude, work ethic, and caring that are up there on the wall. And we talked to a number of the seniors about which one of those words really resonated with them, and the most common one that you heard was toughness.
They are a tough team.
And they have shown it here today. Now on the return, Jordan Smith-Williams running wide and out beyond the 25-yard line with 1:07 to play. Still enough time for Marlon White's Ribault Trojans to try to find the end zone again.
You know, with the explosiveness that Ribault has, 1:07's a lifetime for them. They could put up 14 points in this amount of time with their big play capability, with the arm of Nick Jones, with the way they're throwing the ball. Could be good.
Ribault with a safety and 2 touchdowns, or rather Creekside. Ribault with the touchdown in the first half. A couple of them have been big plays on this hot day here at Bolles. Nick Jones back out to quarterback the Trojans. Sincere Cohen moves up to a wing to the left of the quarterback. Quick throw left side. This one is caught by Kenneth Fedd, but Fedd doesn't find much room at all. Again, gang tackling by the Creekside defense. Talked about how much you have to try to drink. Sometimes you need to cool down as well. Take a look here. These are cold water buckets, ice baths almost on the sidelines here.
That looks refreshing.
Yeah, take a quick dip in there if you need to, just in case. We haven't seen any players get the legs in there.
Now, would you take your shoes off? I don't know how that works. They didn't have that back when I was playing.
Yeah, I probably would, especially if I was the first guy in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested. I'm going to have to keep an eye on it throughout the game.
There have been some soccer teams that have utilized the ice tubs at halftime. It's a bit controversial, but I don't know if I've seen it for a football team. And we haven't seen any players in there so far. Good gain on the run.
And again, Cole, Creekside tackling by committee. They're tackling as a group. They are beginning to wear out this Ribault offense. And we're going to go to halftime.
And that'll be it for the second quarter, unless there was a timeout called. The referees
they did.
Down there having a conversation. And I think that's going to do it for the first half. Creekside, nope, beg your pardon. Creekside did call a timeout with 2 seconds left. Interesting tactic here. On third down, if it was fourth down, you could maybe see it forcing a punt potentially. Instead, one more snap coming up. here in the second quarter. They're going to put 7 seconds on the clock. Still, really, that's usually one play.
Usually.
And particularly if you have a player who is aware of the clock. We've got a running play. Creekside does have another timeout to utilize should they decide to use it. I'm not sure we can call this a flat-out surprise, but sort of the style of game has been a bit of a style as they put now 15 seconds on the clock, so that could change things. You could see 2 plays here. A play and a timeout, and a punt, potentially. And we've seen some of the issues that have cropped up in the punting game so far. And now Ribault's going to call a timeout to talk things over.
Got a timeout for Ribault.
So both teams are strategizing here in the final 15 seconds.
15 seconds, you know, you could run 2 plays, maybe 3, and with the explosiveness that Ribault has, this could be an interesting situation. Nice throw down.
I'm going to make you the offensive coordinator for Ribault here.
I'm taking a shot. I'm taking a shot. We've seen Nick Jones be able to air it out. We've seen, you know, Fed and Gilbert Jr., we've seen them get behind the Creekside defense. Why not? Why not give it a throw? But we've also seen Nick Jones struggle a little bit in being protected. You know, this Creekside defensive line has come through. Yusef Zada has come through a couple times. We've said Abravado's name, Calhoun. We've yet to say Hubert too often, but he's still in the mix as well. Could make a play.
All right, so here we go. Let's see how Marlon White dials it up here. It's a proud tradition at Ribault. Tied with Lake City Columbia for second in the area for the most players selected by the AFL or NFL draft. Reign's the only program with more. So here we go. 3rd down and 11. Jones has some pressure, throws, and it's intercepted. Picked off by Creekside. Alex Thompson's got it. And he's down inside the 20, and there is a penalty marker as well. So the timeout pays dividends for Creekside.
It sure does. Great play. Alex Thompson coming up with the pick, almost a pick 6. And look how fired he's getting fired up. He's getting me fired up in the booth, Cole. I want to jump. We're going to have to do that jump thing up here. Oh, and they handed him the belt, the wrestling belt. Show it to the fans. Get the crowd excited. Come on, Alex. I love it, baby. Yeah. Great play. On TV.
Play is over. Personal foul. Ribault, number 50. Hitting the defensive player in the head. We had the distance to the goal. 1st down.
So with 6 seconds left, the interception and the penalty. He's got the championship belt, does Alex Thompson over there, the turnover belt.
The turnover belt, you know, that's something that's come in the last couple of years. See, turnover belt, turnover chains, you know, that'd be something. I mean, hey, I'd want to have it myself if I was out there playing defense. That is one of those things as a player, you want to be able to lift it up, show your mom and dad in the stands, show everybody on TV. Take a bow, Alex Thompson. You made a big play. Everybody's watching you on the First Coast.
So 6 seconds left. They will go for the end zone here. Probably just time for one play. Denny to throw it, pressured, trying to get away, and down he goes, and that will be the end of the first half, I believe. But before we say that, there was 1 second when he was tackled, and Creekside saying they're calling timeout. Will the referees give them one more snap? They will not. Halftime is here. Creekside a 16-7 lead over Ribault. And what a finish to the half. It was a back and forth first half for sure. Sean McIntyre's team has a 16-7 lead, and the Creekside coach is standing by now with Don.
All right, thanks, Cole. All right, Coach, well, the first half seemed to go back and forth. You guys had a defensive battle there, but you seemed to pick it up with the offense in the second quarter. What happened?
We haven't taken advantage of our opportunities in the game. We've had the ball inside the red zone 3 times and haven't gotten points, and that's one of the things that we talk about, being 100% efficient in the red zone, whether it's a field goal or a touchdown. So we've got to clean that up in the second half and make sure we score. And then defensively, we harp on not giving up big plays, and Coach White did a great job. They got some really fast kids that can run. Their quarterback can throw it, and they got one over our heads. So if we keep the ball in front of us, our defense is playing well right now.
All right, thank you so much, Coach.
Thank you.
Back to you, Cole.
All right, Donna, thank you. That was the Baptist Health Coaches Corner. At halftime, Creekside leads Ribault 16-7. Back with halftime. Right after this, the WWGA Bolles City Showcase on Channel 4.
Channel 4, the local station, and High School 912 present the WWGA Mechanical Contractor Bolles City Showcase Halftime Show.
And here at halftime of the second game of our WWGA Mechanical Contractor Bolles City Showcase, Creekside, that is, holding a 9-point lead over Ribault. Scored halftime 16-7. It has been an entertaining and competitive first half for us. Hello and welcome to the WWGA Mechanical Contractor Halftime Show. I'm Cat Justice, joined by News4Jax sports editor Justin Barney, a man who knows high school sports in our region better than anyone. So, Justin, your initial thoughts here after that first two quarters?
You know, I think both teams, I know the score doesn't show it right now, but I think both these teams have played well. They've done things well. Creekside, Vincent Approbato playing exceptional on defense, had a safety for the first points of the game. And I think Ribault is coming out and throwing the ball well. You know, Ribault is built on defense and running the ball, so we're seeing a little bit different with this offense. Nick Hill's throwing the ball. Nick Jones is throwing the ball extremely well. Gilbert doing extremely well, catching the ball at a tightrope sideline catch in that second quarter. So I think both teams are actually doing some pretty good things.
Let's show them to you, the Gemstone Media halftime highlights. That's Approbato with the tackle in the end zone for a safety, 2-0 Creekside. But here it is, Ribault answering with Nick Jones letting it fly for Calvin Gilbert behind everybody. 80-yard strike and 7-2. Ribault on top. Second quarter, Creekside goes back in front. Preston Stroh, the big running back, in from 4 yards out to the Knights. Back in had 9-7 as a score there. And then toward the end of the first half, 2 minutes left, just inside of that, Creekside strikes again. Jacob Denny deep. Maxwell Robinson is open. He walks in, a 60-yarder right there. The touchdown and the extra point make it 16-7 Creekside. 6 seconds left in the half. Alex Thompson with an interception for Creekside, but no scoring after that. Justin, your thoughts on the second half here? Ribault, really, their defense pretty good. They're bending a little bit here, as we see on some of those plays.
You know, I know Creekside wants to run that ball with Preston Strope. They've not had success doing that. Ribault's really taken away that running game. You know, and I think they're going to continue to try to get Preston Strope involved. But Ribault, I think, on its side of the ball, has to continue to take shots downfield. That's the most success that they've had today, is trying to air it out and take advantage of those mismatches, getting those receivers behind that secondary like they've done a few times today. So kind of keep going to the well and doing that for Ribault.
All right. Well, later in the half, we're going to take a look at both of tonight's primetime matchup games, the big Clay County tilt between Orange Park and Oakleaf, and we're looking back at last night's opener to see how Bolles got their season started with a win against West Nassau. All that when the WWGA Mechanical Contractor halftime show returns. First, a quick break.
Channel 4, the local station, and High School 912 present the WWGA Mechanical Contractor Bolles City Showcase Halftime Show.
All year long, Channel 4 and High School 912 team up, and we're bringing you live high school sports like you've never seen in Jacksonville, from the Rivalry on the River lacrosse tournament to the Fortegra basketball invitational, and of course the Bolles City Showcase you're seeing right now. Wouldn't be possible without amazing support from sponsors. This year, Puro Clean Emergency Services, one of our proud sponsors, helping make this two-day celebration of high school football possible. Joining us right now, live, Wayne Terry, owner and CEO of Puro Clean Emergency Services here in Jacksonville. Wayne, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for the sponsorship. And, hey, share some of your thoughts on the game and this two-day event that we're involved in.
I'll tell you, this is really, really exciting. There's a lot of excitement in the air, a lot of energy. You come down here, it's just absolutely wonderful. And Puro Clean is absolutely excited and stunned just to be able to be a part of this. We love it.
Yeah, why is it important for you for Puro Clean to be involved in the community like this?
Well, I'll tell you, when in high school, we were in football, and everything was all about a team effort, team effort, team effort. And here, that's what everybody's doing. It's team effort. Everybody working together to get to a common goal. And Puro Clean has, we do mold, we do fire. If your house floods, we take care of all those situations and bring it back to normal again. And so we all work as a team, the same way as football players do. We all work as a team to get you back to normal as quickly as possible.
Yeah, you just mentioned a couple of those things. I think of hurricane damage, so many different things that can happen in your home or your business. Sounds like PuroClean would be the place I'd want to get in touch with, right?
Yeah, it could be a pipe break, it could be a flood, it could be roof leak, it could be lightning hitting the air conditioning condenser unit. So many reasons why you might have property damage. And when you do, call PuroClean. We're there in 2 hours or less, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Wayne, what other ways does PuroClean connect with and serve the community here in Jacksonville, supporting Jacksonville?
We love to support Jacksonville. So we do Boots on the Ground, which is a charity event for families of fallen soldiers. We do blood drives every month. We do Toys for Tots. We love being a part of the community. We love to give back as much as we can.
Well, so you realize this. People in Jacksonville, in Northeast Florida, Southeast Georgia, love to give, love to be part of efforts that really make a difference in the community. So we love that you're doing that too. Wayne Terry, owner and CEO of PuroClean Emergency Services in Jacksonville, thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right, so when we come back, Justin Barney returns to preview tonight's finale in the Bolles City Showcase. Plus, we're going to look at what Ribault and Creekside have to do in the second half of this game in order to squeeze out the victory.
Channel 4, the local station, and High School 912 present the WWGay Mechanical Contractor Bolles City Showcase Halftime Show.
And what a great Saturday afternoon. Right now, we're at halftime. Creekside leading Ribault 16-7. And as we continue on here at halftime, let's study up on our tutoring club halftime stats. We're going to see what the teams can do at halftime to improve their performance in the second half. But as we look here, teams even in first downs, 5 apiece. The total yards are not too far off there, but clearly Ribault Creekside piling up some... I'll get this straight. Justin Barney's going to help me learn how to read the halftime stats here. 108 passing yards for Ribault. So a lot of that coming on one big play, but only 5 rushing yards. And you see on the right-hand column there, Creekside, they are evenly divided between those passing and rushing yards. Both teams 0 for 3 on third downs.
It's about as balanced as you could want right there from that Creekside offense. You know, you mentioned the Ribault offensive passing game. I mean, 80 yards came on one play. So I think Ribault, you got to get a little bit more balance to that.
But and at the same time, we were kind of surprised. Ribault has been throwing the ball downfield, and you know, successful half the time on those passing attempts. But it's surprising to see some of that and kind of fun. So Justin, let's talk about the final game of the night. All eyes on Clay County because the Orange Park Raiders, Oakleaf Knights, they are renewing what has become a big rivalry for them in Clay. Yeah,
one-sided rivalry if you ask the Oakleaf football players and coaches. Oakleaf has controlled this series, and you know, they may feel it's not a rivalry, but you know, in these small county games, I mentioned last night, Clay County only has 7 high schools, so any game between county teams in Clay County, it's a rivalry game. I don't care how you slice it, it's a rivalry game, and this one certainly classifies as that. Oakleaf has more expectations to get things done. They're a playoff team multiple years, and it had a player drafted recently, Shaq Quarterman, into the NFL. So you know, the pedigree is on that Oakleaf side of the ball. They're a bigger program, Class 8A. And Orange Park has struggled a little bit. You know, Orange Park split off and created Oakleaf years ago in 2010 when it opened up. So it's a natural rivalry by proximity there. And Orange Park has really struggled to kind of catch back up. You know, going into this game, I look at a player like JoJo Restall, showing him right there, running last year to break things off. I think Orange Park has to rely on him to move that ball. And for Oakleaf, I think we're interested to see. It's a new quarterback this year, and Drew Ammon. He replaces a 4-year starter and Trey Simmons at quarterback. So it's his first game, and looking to see what he can do with this Oakleaf offense. Devin Outlaw, the big guy, opposite JoJo Restall, out of that Oakleaf backfield. So looking to see how these two county rivals, open up this season what they have.
Yeah, and proximity makes a difference in something like that. I mean, they're only 10 miles apart here, and like you pointed out, these schools split from each other. Lots of people, we heard coaches talking about it as well. Lots of these players played with or against each other in the younger portions of a football career that comes up before you hit high school. So that game kicks off tonight at 7, right after News4Jax at 6:30, which is right here on Channel 4. All right, let's go back to last night. We're going to take a look at our first game of the Bolles City Showcase. West Nassau Warriors traveling from Callahan, taking on the Bolles Bulldogs. And what they found was a guy named Cade Frew. That's the 4th play of the game, taking it in from 7 yards for the touchdown. Early lead there, and Frew strikes again here. Handoff up the middle, bouncing outside, eludes 2 tacklers, takes it in. That's a 30-yard touchdown play right there. And then in the second quarter, Frew is not going to score here, but he's going to show some magic. He's got moves. He's weaving through the traffic. He hits the right sideline. He is going, finally dragged down there just inside the 10, but that's good for 64 yards. Frew, 172 yards, 10 carries, 4 touchdowns. Bolles going on to beat up West Nassau there 42-0. Justin, we thought that it might be not a very balanced, competitive game, but Bolles did what they had to do, right?
Yeah, that's, you know, and you ride the legs of Cade Frew. I've been following him for a couple years. Really burst on the scene a couple years ago in the state championship game with 3 touchdowns, and he's been doing it ever since. A little bit undersized, but, you know, that was a showcase of what he can do, was what we saw last night. Be interesting to see how Cade and that Bolles offensive line does against better teams. And that will start Friday night against Columbia. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, that one against Columbia is certainly something to watch. So we're looking ahead to next weekend in football, but hey, we still have more football in this game and then a nightcap as well. That'll do it for us here on the WWGA Mechanical Contractor Bolles City Showcase halftime show. For Justin Barney, I'm Kent Justice. Cole and Joe, they've got the second half kickoff right after this 2-minute break. Don't go anywhere.
Some of the sights and sounds of the first half. Creekside up on Ribault 16-7 in game 2 of the WWGA Mechanical Contractor Bolles City Showcase. Along with Joe Zelenka, Cole Pepper here in the booth. Let's hear from the Ribault head coach, Marlon White, who's standing by with Don.
All right, thanks, Cole. We're here with Coach White. Okay, so you guys had a big battle in the first quarter. Second quarter, it seemed to take off. What do you guys need to work on in the second half?
We just had to show up a few things on special teams. We had a punt block there, and then we had 2 interceptions. We got to limit the mistakes to get back in the game.
All right, thank you so much, Coach.
Have a good one.
Back to you, Cole.
All right, thank you, Donna. Yep, Marlon White, as again we mentioned before the game, he said he wanted to see his team eliminate the mistakes. Try to see the same happen here in the second half. This one still anybody's ball game, though, as we get set to start the third quarter with Ribault kicking off, and another special teams mistake. This one covered up. Jordan Smith-Williams able to pounce on it for Ribault. But special teams has been a bit of an adventure for the Trojans here in the opener, Joe.
Again, 3 phases of football: offense, defense, special teams. You've got to hold on to the ball. You've got to kick it when you need to. You've got to be able to catch the ball on returns. Just a little bit, probably took his eyes off, a little bit excited to run.
As a guy who made his living on special teams, you have to admit that that probably becomes the most overlooked aspect, particularly when you have limited time to get ready for a game.
Absolutely. It's one of those things that as a fan, you don't realize how important that is. But, I mean, in the NFL, for example, if you get a kicked block, you're probably going to lose that game. It's hard to win games, especially as you progress on in these leagues, in the levels, as you're making mistakes in special teams. We're going to see if these come back. Ribault's going to recover from this one. Nice run up the middle.
You saw Jones's numbers. He's going to go to the ground here with Sincere Cohen. And Cohen bangs his way forward for Ribault. 4 carries, 13 yards in the first half for Cohen. And he starts here with a 5-yard gain on the ground. 2nd and 5 now for Ribault. If you're looking to turn things around for Ribault offensively, we saw the big play. We haven't seen enough consistency, though, in keeping drives going.
No, we've seen some sparks and a great call by Coach Marlin out of the break, because he little delayed handoff gets that. Oh, great. Again, gang tackling, tackle by committee, the entire Creekside defensive line making a great play.
Here's Cohen again, and he just runs into a bunch of red shirts. Harrison Moritz is in there, along with Ian Calhoun. You take another look here.
Big number 75, Ian Calhoun, is just a brick wall. You're not running through him. You've got to run around him. And right there, no sledding at all for Ribault.
You got two guys on that defensive front for Creekside who have already committed to their colleges of choice. Calhoun to Lafayette and Yusuf Zada going to West Point. And some of these other guys making a name for themselves as well. On 3rd down, Jones scrambling and will just run out of bounds for a loss. Should have thrown it away there, but he ran out of bounds at the 20-yard line, and some of his teammates saying the same thing. Hey, just throw it away.
Just throw it away. Save yourself 5 yards. It's extra 5 yards. Again, one of those things, that young quarterback hasn't played a whole lot. As the season progresses, I'm sure Nick Jones is going to make those smart plays. Just chuck it out of bounds. You know, live to fight another day.
So Brendan Mcmillan will be back to return this one for Creekside. As you see Marlon White talking to Nick Jones there on the sideline. And the punt coming up here from Ribault. Jalen Clark, this time able to get it away. And a wobbler to the side, away from the return man. Takes a great bounce for Ribault and spins down at the 29-yard line. Let's go back down to the field and check in with Donna Murphy.
For number 30, Jalen Clark.
In the offseason due to COVID, and they had to split the players' weight training by half, and that means half the team was training inside while half the team would train outside this offseason due to COVID restrictions. I asked him if his team took that as a punishment, and he said, no, ma'am. They do what it takes for Creekside. Back to you, Cole.
Thank you, Donna. Well, especially when you talk about guys who have played so much football together. You know, they're used to working out together. They're used to lifting together, motivating each other, and that got split up a bit. It is an adjustment to be made, but no complaints from the Creekside players. Here is a fake handoff to Strope, and it's Denny, the quarterback, taking it. We thought we might see Wilson Edwards potentially play a little quarterback, but so far it's been Denny taking all the snaps for Creekside, and it has served the Knights well to this point, a 16-7 lead.
You know, Jacob Denny, a transfer from Christchurch Academy. He's a detail-oriented guy, just like right there. He rode the handoff, kept it himself, had a nice little run, and again, here he's handed off to Preston Strope, grinding the yards out.
Strope certainly has been the focus of the Ribault defense. Strope in the first half able to carry 12 times for 55 yards.
You know, Cole, Donna was talking about that the way that Creekside had to train with COVID restrictions. What I hope the fans realize is that these coaches not only have to prepare for games, but they have this new fold of COVID protocols and contact tracing. They don't know who they're going to have from day to day, because they could lose a bulk of their team just because of a contact tracing. This is a big issue we're going to see play out again this season as we're playing a full season of high school football. How these coaches manage their team, how they manage the COVID protocol, how they manage it even themselves. They might lose coaches to contact tracing or to positive tests. It's one of those things.
False start. Offense, number 6, 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Penalty against Creekside. The 5-yard penalty.
So they'll walk him back 5 yards instead of 3rd and short. They'll have a 3rd and medium, 3rd and 6 coming up now for Creekside. But you're right, Joe. Teams like Creekside that have a big roster have an opportunity to sort of weather the storm a little bit more if they have players out in a practice for contact tracing or whatnot. Denny going to throw it here, scrambling away on 3rd down. Throws and caught but out of bounds, incomplete on that far sideline. They got it to Strope, but Denny took a little too long to identify, and by the time he unleashed it, Strope was beyond the sideline, so incomplete. It'll bring up 4th down and the punting team coming on. But you make a great point about the coaches. you might get a coach that gets contact tracing and now you're out. And we know how difficult it is to have experienced, reliable, dedicated assistant coaches at the high school level. It's very hard to retain those guys. So if you wind up having a key assistant miss some time, that can impact your team's preparations for a given game. High punt by Yusef Zada, and a fair catch called for by Ribault and covered up by Demontrio Glee. And the Trojans will take over at their own 36-yard line. It is a new world for all of us. Of course, some of those protocols change year to year.
Absolutely. And again, we'll see how this plays out, how coaches, and for kids who are playing, and if you're watching games, say you're number 3, number 4 on the depth chart, all of a sudden it could come Friday night and you're starting a football game where you didn't maybe think you were going to even play at all because of contact tracing. It means, hey, everybody has to be ready, and this is what coaches have to preach each and every day at practice. You've got to prepare more than just 22 players. You got to prepare your whole team to be ready to play.
Now here we go, 1st and 10 for Ribault from the 36-yard line. Nick Jones from the gun. Quick throw near side. Tried to get it to Jordan Smith-Williams. Couldn't connect to the junior wide receiver. It's incomplete. We've seen the strong arm of Nick Jones. And that time might have put a little too much mustard on it.
It's one of those John Elway type things. Remember, they used to talk about that John Elway tattoo. That ball was humming. There was some heat behind it, but in that short pass, he had one picked off in the flat early in the game. You got to throw hard when you're throwing into that short corner. You want to make sure that ball gets to your receiver.
The winds have turned, by the way. Earlier in the game, wind was blowing in the direction Ribault's going. Now it's more or less crossing and in the face of the Trojans offensively. Jones under pressure. And down he goes. A collection of Knights back there. Ian Calhoun along with Chris Huber to get the sack on Nick Jones. And a big loss for the Trojans.
Here we are again, the Creekside defensive line. Hey, statisticians, give 3 guys a sack on this one. Divide it 3 ways. Great rush. Huber, Calhoun, Yusef Zada. What a play up front, just plowing through, muscle, power, strength, using their hands, making a tackle.
Yusef Zada was the first one in, and then his compatriots weren't far behind.
You know, as a coach, you love seeing that out of your defense early in the season. You don't want one guy making all the plays. You love that these guys are tackling by committee. It's going to wear an offense down. Other teams are going to start seeing this going, oh my gosh, we've got to stop all 3 in the defensive front. We've got to stop all 11. Everybody can make a play. Really fun to watch.
I missed what Chris Poole said there.
I think I was talking, Cole.
You were.
Sorry.
They are bringing the teams back out here. Usually the hydration rate comes around the 5 or 6 minute mark, and this is just under 8, so no hydration just yet. A little confusion, and we'll see how Ribault responds on 3rd down and 18 from the 29-yard line. Jones will hand it off. Sincere Cohen gets a big chunk back beyond the original line of scrimmage up to the 40-yard line. They'll bring up 4th down and 6, but a punting situation coming on here for Ribault. So we've seen some outstanding defensive plays made by Creekside in this ball game. The one big play, the 80-yard touchdown to Calvin Gilbert for Ribault. Aside from that, it's been a very impressive performance by the Creekside defense.
It's been a slugfest back and forth. We've got 2 really good teams showing us some really good football. And this is fun for us to watch as fans. I know people who are big Gator fans, or maybe you're a big Alabama fan, you love the blowouts. You love to see your team win. For a football fan, we love to see good games where things are tight, people are playing hard, coaches are coaching hard.
Mcmillan will let this one go, and it rolls down inside the 15-yard line down to the 14. Another good roll on the punt by Ribault, and the Knights of Creekside will take over with 6:47 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Marlon White's team looking for a spark here, and see if the defense can provide that. would also expect to see more of 24 here for Creekside. Preston Strope. With the lead, you go to your power back.
Absolutely. You allow it to grind. You know what? But I love what Coach Marlon White did at halftime. A lot of times you got to make a halftime adjustment on defense or offense. He's made a halftime adjustment on his special teams. They've cleaned up this punt protection. They've got off 2 punts, really pretty punts. They've changed the field position. A lot of times football is all about getting that field position battle, making their offense, making the opposing team's offense drive long distances. This is what they've done. We've got 1st and 81 for the Creekside Knights.
And Jacob Denny remains in the game at quarterback with Strope off his left hip. And he'll keep it himself this time and dive forward past the 15 up to the 17-yard line. We have seen Denny carry 8 times now for 21 yards. And seen 12 carries for Strope. So those 2 guys have been all the ball carriers for Creekside in this game. Denny with a 60-yard touchdown pass to Maxwell Robinson. The big strike for Creekside. And now here's a ball downfield, and it is caught. And off to the races goes Ashton Reynolds, and Reynolds into Ribault territory with a big gainer through the air.
What a throw. You know, Jacob Denny sits in the pocket. He does a little pump fake. Watch, he's going to pump, get that cornerback to sit down, and here's what happens. Ashton Reynolds just behind the defense, and then it's off to the races. Great ball security after catching. Sometimes you get in the open field. As a young kid, he's a sophomore, you're going to start swinging that ball. He doesn't.
48-yard connection, and they'll go back to Strope on 1st down to bang his way forward for a gain of about 3, and then some pushing and shoving after the play. Helmets come off, flags fly, more flags flying. Avery Swinton being restrained by his teammates. There are 3 of them. That's probably a good idea. Regional weightlifting qualifier this past season. Need some muscle to keep him back.
Big Avery Swinton is all muscle, and he plays hard and with passion, and maybe that got the most of him in this little situation.
Again, one of the seniors on that offensive line as the men in the striped shirts sort things out here. This may be one of those situations where you have offsetting personal fouls again. Saw that in the first half of the game. See what Chris Poole has to say.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 62, Creekside. That's going to be a 15-yard penalty. Also after the play, sideline warning, Creekside. That's going to be an additional 15 yards. Still 1st down.
Wow, so 30 yards worth of penalties on that one exchange. After a sideline warning and then a sideline infraction in the first half, the 3rd against Creekside. It goes from a 5-yard to a 15-yard penalty. So after that 48-yard gain, wipe out 30 of it. And with 5:43 to play in the 3rd quarter, it's time for another WWGA hydration break. Back with more high school football after this on Channel 4.
The WWGA Mechanical Contractor Bold City Showcase is brought to you by Airstream Ventures, Covenant Roofing, and PuroClean Emergency Services.
5:43 remaining, 3rd quarter. Creekside leads Ribault 16-7. Let's go down to the sideline once again and check in with Donna Murphy.
Thank you so much, Cole. I'm here with Ron Salem with the Jacksonville City Council. Ron, you've been a member of the Jacksonville sports scene for a number of years, so thank you so much for coming out and supporting these sports athletes. How has it been supporting this, something like of the Bold City Showcase in High School 912?
Well, I'm very supportive of High School 912. It's a terrific organization, and particularly the academic focus of it. And an event like this, I mean, there's a huge crowd. It's just wonderful to be out here on a beautiful Saturday afternoon.
Well, and being on the Jacksonville Sports Council, talk about how it's been for Jacksonville and seeing the growth of the city.
Well, Jacksonville is just exploding. The recent census has us right at 1 million people. We got housing explosion. I mean, it's just a great time to be living in Jacksonville and a great time to be on the city council, Frank.
And thank you so much, Ron. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Back to you, Cole.
All right, Donna, thank you. Second down and forever for Creekside here after the 30 yards of penalties. And Denny will keep it himself and gets past the 45, takes a shot as he approaches the 50-yard line. Going to bring up third down and only half of forever here.
Takes a real good hit by Jalen Clark, the Mike linebacker. I mean, big bone shattering. I felt it up here. That was tough. Denny's a tough quarterback.
3rd and 27 now, as Creekside plays with a 16-7 lead. Once again, final game of the day will feature a couple of Clay County teams, Orange Park and Oakleaf. Hand it to Preston Strope, hit in the backfield, and able to drag Zavatre Brown back toward the line of scrimmage, but not much more than that. So punting team coming on for Creekside. Too difficult to try to overcome 30 yards of penalties on one play, Joe.
You know, Creekside had a really pretty drive going. They had a nice pitch and catch. They had some momentum, and then they just allowed their emotions to get the best of them. And their details on the sidelines. They've had the mistake in the first half, got the penalty. Now it's 15 yards, 30 yards. Hard to overcome.
Demontrio Glee back to return this punt from Christian Youssef Zada. Glee on the run, takes it at the 20. Glee weaving through the Creekside coverage out past the 35 to about the 37, maybe 38-yard line. And that's where Ribault will start again. The battle for Clay County happens in Duval tonight. Orange Park against Oakleaf. 7 o'clock kickoff from right here on the Bolles School campus to wrap up our coverage of the WWGA Mechanical Contractor Bolles City Showcase. Joe, Don, and I will be back with you for that one tonight. Looking forward to seeing how those two Clay County schools match up this evening.
It's going to be a fun one, Cole. A rivalry for the ages. I mean, you talk about great rivalries in football. Orange Park, Oakleaf. This is a rivalry. This is some for bragging rights.
It's definitely a rivalry. If you ask the folks at OP, you get mixed reaction from Oakleaf, who usually have their eye on another team.
With initials, too.
Yeah. Bartram Trail, BT. Here goes Jones on the run, scrambling, and picks up a first down. There is a penalty marker down at the 44-yard line, so we'll see if this one stands. But we've not seen Jones scrambling too much, but he did there for a first down.
Again, Jones has got that smooth arm, but he was smooth on that scramble. Looked really good. Maybe we should put in some play action, Coach White. Some quarterback draws.
We've seen plenty of that from Creekside. We've not really seen Jones running for
personal foul. Number 11, offense. Pick a defensive player, 15 yards. Replay first down.
Calvin Gilbert, the wide receiver, flag for the block. Marlon White. The face says it all, doesn't it?
You know what? We're seeing some big penalties back and forth. You know, these two coaches, Marlon White, Sean McIntyre, these are classy guys. These are guys that love the game of football, that coach character, that want to raise these young men into grown men. They don't like this stuff. They don't like these ticky-tack, these cheap fouls. I wouldn't want to be on either of these teams come Monday.
And they will go to the ground. Jamari Williams doesn't find much room on the left side. Point of emphasis this year in high school football has been the crackback or the block on a defenseless player. See if we can pick it up here to the right of the screen. Yep, there you go. Another look here. Didn't have his header on Ian Mooney. Nope. Didn't see it coming.
And that's one of those things, Cole, that because it's a point of emphasis, they're going to call it, even if it's a little bit close either way. Every year in the NFL, there'd be points of emphasis that referees would come in and they'd teach you about, and then we'd see it called the entire season long.
Second down and 16. Jones scrambling away from pressure, and again just runs out of bounds. And this time losing yards once again on the scramble. We've seen a couple of opportunities where Jones could have potentially thrown the ball away. Marlon White probably whispering to his quarterback, throw it away, young man.
Throw it away.
Such a hard thing to learn for a quarterback who wants to try to make plays and wants to keep things alive, but with more experience, Jones just a junior, he'll pick up on that.
He will definitely as the season goes on, Coach White's going to have them coached up well. It's one of those things, too, as you watch guys in upper leagues, you know, your Patrick Mahomes, you know, your Aaron Rodgers, guys that extend plays and then make a throw deep. Young guys like to do that, too.
So 3rd and 16. Jones going long. A wobbler is out there and knocked away. Incomplete. What a defensive play by Creekside. Knocked away by Jake Thorpe, who got a hand in there at the last second.
Jake Thorpe, great play out here on a ball that was fluttering. First time I've seen, you know, Nick Jones throw a little bit of a duck in the air. Might have been tight, but great play. Just a hand. That's all he needed was a hand to break up that play.
See another look here on the...
Thorpe, the big senior. He's the returning starter of this old defense for Creekside. A lot of seniors out there, and these guys have played a lot. Jake Thorpe showing us what experience brings you on the defensive side of the ball.
And you start talking about the experience on defense of the starting 11 for Creekside. 9 seniors, a couple of juniors. High punt, and it's going to take a Ribault bounce yet again. This one trickles down inside the 25, and it will be a long field for Creekside. But the Creekside defense continues to get the job done against Ribault's offense. And the Knights with a 16-7 lead. They led that by that score at halftime and still do with 2:39 to play here in the third quarter. Now you have to wonder, will we see a heavier diet of Preston Strope, Joe? Because as the game goes on, as the clock becomes more and more an ally of Creekside, keeping that ground game going and letting Strope use that power to try to wear down the Ribault defense would seem to be the play here.
It would seem to be the play, Cole, but we've watched the entire game. Preston hasn't, you know, Ribault hasn't given him any room. They haven't given him anywhere to go. They've really keyed on him. If he's broken a run, it's been because of his own power. It's just a broken play. Ribault's keying on him. I don't know if we're going to get to see a whole lot of Strope.
They'll give it to him here, right up the middle, and dives forward past the 30. Ooh, hard hit for the referee, as a Ribault player was jumping over Strope and came down. Wrong place at the wrong time for the Zebra. And he's up, and I think he's going to be okay.
You know, Cole, those guys are part of the field. That's what happens. They're part of the field. You can run into them if it's a mistake. You don't want to do it on purpose. But there's teams in the NFL and college that actually use that referee as a pick back there between receivers.
After a 7-yard gain by Strope, they'll go back to the ground, and running in the middle, not as much success here. Gains a couple. And it'll bring up 3rd down and a yard. Well, I expected at some point we would see a steady diet of Preston Strope, and maybe starting to see it here. 3rd down and half a yard. Denny trying to draw Ribault off sides, and he does just that.
Cole, when you got a team that is so senior heavy, you've got an offensive line that is seniors across the board, guys who played together, you can go hard count. These guys know how to hold their water. They know hard count. We're not moving. We're trying to get an easy 5.
So now 1st and 10, and they'll give it to Strope. Nope, it's Denny keeping it himself. Not much room in the middle of the Ribault line. We go inside a minute and a half to play in the third quarter.
Number 18, Carmelo Cooper.
Second and 9. Strope stays in there. He rarely comes out of the game for Creekside. Now he goes in motion. They're going to throw it to him in the flat. Looking for a block. Didn't find one. And pushed out of bounds just beyond the 40-yard line. Gain of 3 on the pass play. Both teams have had penalty issues in this ball game. 7 penalties, 65 yards for Creekside. 7 penalties, 75 yards for Ribault.
You know, Cole, as a coach, first game, you expect there to be penalties, procedural things, but you don't expect the penalties that we've seen today. Some chippiness, some extracurricular activity after the play. Although guys playing with emotion, you've got to keep those things in check. You're only hurting yourself.
And now a penalty marker thrown behind the play. Usually,
substitution infraction, defense, 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
Cole, that's the kind of penalty you expect to see in a first game. Guys figuring out how to substitute, how to get on and off the field, maybe 12 men on the field. Those kind of things as a coach, you kind of take as a pass because, hey, it's early in the season. We're going to make those mistakes. The other stuff we're seeing, not so much. And we've seen some big ones, too. Drive stopping for Creekside. 2 big penalties that really, stalled that last drive. That Creekside, we thought we were seeing something, big pass play, something put together. They got a nice little drive going here, which is kind of due to some of these penalties we've been seeing.
8 penalties, 80 yards against Creekside, and now some substitution issues for Creekside as well. And the Knights call timeout with 11 seconds remaining here in the third quarter, and a 3rd and 3 coming up.
With 11 seconds in the third quarter,
you expect a few things to happen in the first game of the season. Maybe some over-aggression, maybe some early jitters, maybe not having the right bodies on the field at the right time. These are things that every high school team deals with early on. Even mentioned Bolles winning yesterday 42-0. There were plenty of things that Matt Toblin will want to clean up moving forward. It's part of the process of the season.
It is, and in high school you don't have those early preseason games where you get to test everything. You don't get to walk through your warm-up. You don't get to actually go out there. That preseason classic where you're maybe playing your guys a quarter or stuff. That's not the same as when you turn the lights on and you're actually playing for real. Emotions are different.
And now some rain starting to fall here at the Bolles School campus. Some umbrellas starting to pop out in the stands. And 3rd down and 3. Throw it for Strope. A little far out in front of him. Couldn't get his hands around it. So now 4th and short. And with 7 seconds remaining in the quarter, the punt team coming on for Creekside. Christian Yusefzada back out to punt it away, and Marlon Brown's defense, Marlon White's defense able to hold here. Yusefzada on the fake. A stiff arm.
Nice stiff arm.
And close to the first down. I think he slid out. On the far side, there is a penalty marker down as well.
There is a flag on the play.
On the Creekside sideline. See what that's all about, but how about Yusefzada with a stiff arm?
Let's listen to the call here from the official, but I love it. You've got a great athlete in Christian Yusefzada, an Army commit. Give him the ball, let him go make a play, and that's what it looks like he did.
The flag was dropped at the 36-yard line of Ribault, right along the sideline in front of the Creekside bench.
Gutsy, aggressive call by Coach McIntyre, but he comes from a gutsy, aggressive coaching tree with, Joey Wiles.
Ball. Personal foul. Defense number 6. 15 yards at the end of the run. First down.
So penalties once again. Fighting Marlon White's team as the third quarter comes to an end, as the rain falls here at Bolles. Creekside a 16-7 lead over Ribault. 12 minutes of football remaining for these two. It's going to the fourth quarter as we anticipated. Back for the fourth after this on Channel 4.
The WWK Mechanical Contractor Bold City Showcase is brought to you by Bowden Eye & Associates and Duval Motor Company.
That's a nice place for a study break right along the river here on the Bolles School campus. Another place for a great break is the Moe's VIP area, which is where Donna Murphy has snuck away to.
I have, Cole. Thank you. Yes, a break from the rain, and I decided to go to the VIP tent sponsored by Moe's. Well, as you can see, it is air-conditioned. There are tables and chairs here, but the best thing, it is catered by Moe's. Wonderful array of food they have for you right here. They also have plenty of drinks as well as other snacks, and they also have a wonderful TV, so you can sit in here and watch the game with the air-conditioned and comfortable seats. Many people in here. Now, it is a VIP tent, but you don't have to be invited by someone that knows you. All you have to do is go to an app called GoFan. That's all. Just go to an app on any Apple store, or, you know, if you're like me, I have a Droid. So you go to any Google Play Store and go to GoFan, look up the game that is playing, whether it's Creekside, Ribault, or later on today, Oak Leaf. And all you have to do is find the game, and it'll pop right up, and it'll say VIP tent, and you buy the ticket. It's only $40, and you can eat and drink and sit in here and be air conditioned free, or you can be dry. That's all it is, right here in the Moe's VIP tent. Back to you, Cole.
All right, well, I'll tell you this. I know Joe and I can both eat $40 worth at Moe's. There's no doubt.
Easy peasy. In queso.
On second down, scramble by Denny. Gets to the 34-yard line.
You know, Don, if you get a chance, big plate of guacamole and chips for Cole and I to finish off this game would be fantastic.
Need to keep our energy up.
We do.
Another game after this.
And I got to stay hydrated. Eat the salty snacks, stay hydrated, keep drinking my water. We're going to be good.
These health tips brought to you by Joe Zelenko.
Don't take health tips from me at all. Never take a health tip from a former NFL football player.
Third down and long, third and call it 8 for Creekside. Might be 4-down territory here as well. Depending on what happens, Denny, pump fake, running it himself. Slips a tackle at the 30 and dives forward past the 25. Has a first down at the 22-yard line. Jacob Denny keeping things going on the ground for Creekside.
You know, I like this call by Coach Mack. It looks like a little pump fake, quarterback draw, and then Jacob Denny doing what we've seen him do all day long, and that's run the ball.
Denny now 12 carries for 40 yards. Now they give it to Strope. And keyed on by the Ribault defense. Strope just gains a couple. And the clock continuing to roll, and now that we go under 10 minutes, more and more an ally of Creekside.
Absolutely. Having a big back like Strope, having a quarterback who can run like Denny, this is the way Creekside wants to run their offense. They want to punish you. They want to grind it out.
Strope again. Still pushing.
Wow.
Down to about the 12-yard line. Should be close to another Creekside first down.
Big offensive line. JoJo Lima, the big fellas up front, and then here we go. Preston Strope, we're talking about him. We talked about what he did in the weight room. We talked about how Creekside is trained. He just carrying people forward.
You mentioned JoJo Lima. As you look at the total yards here, Creekside certainly in control as far as the offense is concerned. JoJo Lima at center, 3-year starter, team captain, one of the leaders of this team. Quick throw out wide, caught by Mcmillan, fumble, and recovered by Ribault. The Trojans defense makes a timely play, and that may have been a game-saving play for Ribault.
Absolutely. It's a great play by the defense here. Oh, just never secured the ball for Creekside. Great recovery. See the ball on the ground? See ball, recover ball.
The hit was made by Malik White. Put a shoulder into it.
Shoulder right on the ball. Never really secured it. Helmet popped off. But listen, hey, although Creekside was driving, we thought we were going to see a Creekside touchdown. You know, they've given, you know, Ribault the ball here again inside their 5-yard line. We've seen a couple drives start this way for Ribault, didn't we, Cole?
And credit Christian Castleberry with the recovery. Now, the long field has not been unusual for Ribault in this ballgame. Down by 9, they need 2 scores. Jones just does get back out of the end zone.
We've already seen a safety in the first game. You know, Vincent Approbato tackled for a safety.
And there is a Ribault player down, and that is Nick Jones, the quarterback. Sophomore Jalen Houston is one of the backups at quarterback. And they're going to spend some time taking a look at Nick Jones. Let's take a look and see if we can detect the injury. Watch the knee. Tough to see there. Didn't have anybody roll up on it, but they are looking at that right leg.
You know, Cole, this AstroTurf, or the turf, the field turf, whatever you want to call it, although it's one of the safest things we can play on these days, and it's easy for schools to take care of, there are times, there are places where maybe one of those cleats gets caught in this turf. You grip it just a little bit too much, and your body gets twisted the other way. That's what it looked like to me. That's a situation as a player that you just hate to do it because you can't get your foot out of the ground fast enough, and it just stays there, and your body goes the other way. This is not what you want to see from a guy who's had such a great game going.
Well, tonight, the battle for Clay County, scheduled for a 7 o'clock kick between Orange Park and Oakleaf. Here's a little Clay County matchup. These two schools only 10 miles apart, 2 of the 7 schools in Clay County. Oakleaf leads the all-time series 5-3, and they've won the last 5 against Orange Park. There'll be some Clay County bragging rights on the line this evening. They'll kick it off at 7 in the WWGA Mechanical Contractor Bolles City Showcase. With Nick Jones out of the game, it's Jalen Houston, the sophomore, in there at quarterback for Ribault. Hand it off. This is Sincere Cohen, and Cohen gets some running room off the right side.
Sincere Cohen on the carry. Picked up about 50 on the play.
Sincere Cohen running behind 2 mountain men, Gary Nath, Jamal Mixon, 300, 325, Road Creighton, opening big holes against a very stout Creekside defensive line. Great run by Ribault. Gets them out of that hole. Now their playbook can open up a little bit.
That was very needed for the Trojans. Let's see how Houston, the sophomore, reacts here. Again, a handoff. Cohen, not much running room this time. Gain of maybe a foot off the right side. So you've got a sophomore who has come on here who hasn't played a varsity snap until today. And you come into the fourth quarter. What a test here for Jalen Houston.
Absolutely. Young guy. He's been engaged. He's been watching on the sidelines. All of a sudden, his number gets called. Hey, you've got to come. You've got 7 minutes. You're down. You've got to put together a drive, lead your team as a young player. Great challenge for Jalen to see what he can do. See what Coach White's going to figure out what kind of player he has.
Now they're going to have him throw. And it's complete on a short pass to the near side. And Jordan Smith-Williams pushed out of bounds. Past the 30-yard line, has a first down for Ribault.
You know, Cole, watching before the game, I was watching both Jones and Houston. They both can throw the ball very, very accurately. And again, here we see a great throw to the flat and then just power running by Smith-Williams. Running through tackles.
You would ordinarily, with a young quarterback, like to maybe not put too much on his shoulders, but here you are with less than 7 minutes to play, needing 2 scores. You can't hold back too much in the playbook.
No, you really can't. You got to let him play. Just let him see what he can do.
And he'll give it off to Cohen again, running up the middle. A couple of yards in the teeth of the Creekside defense.
Game 4. Tackle made by number 8.
I like what Coach Marlon White's doing here with this young quarterback. He's keeping it a little bit simple. There's not a whole lot of play action. He doesn't have to make big reads, throw to the flat, hand off, throw to the flat. He's keeping it really simple. He knows his personnel. He knows what he has in a young quarterback, the ability, the physical ability to make plays. Just let him go make plays.
And Joe, of course, we talked about the upcoming schedule for Ribault with Trinity Christian and Riverside coming up the next 2 weeks. You have to be making some of these calls with those games in mind, too, not knowing how Jones might respond. Wobbly pass, nearly intercepted, and incomplete on second down.
You want to...
5:48 to play in the fourth quarter. Ribault trailing 16-7. Hydration break time brought to you by WWGA. Back to close things out after this. There you see Ribault's schedule coming up. Trinity Christian, Riverside. And after Westside, a trip to Sandalwood. So a challenging first half of the schedule for the Trojans after this game against Creekside. As for the Knights, Creekside has a matchup with Nice, who just knocked off Ponte Vedra. Then Fleming Island. That's a good matchup of running backs. And then they go to Sandalwood. So opening month of the season will test both of these teams for sure. We'll know a lot about the Knights and Trojans by the time the month of October rolls around. 5:48 to play in the fourth quarter. Creekside with a 16-7 lead over Ribault. The Trojans with Jalen Houston, the sophomore, in relief of the injured Nick Jones. And facing a 3rd and 7. You would think with the clock where it is, likely would go for it on 4th down if they don't make it here. He's going to throw it deep and incomplete. Was trying to find Jordan Smith-Williams, who was going deep. And with Smith-Williams on the run, couldn't quite reach him. So 4th down coming up. And we do see the punt team coming on for Ribault. Little surprising, perhaps, given the time on the clock, 5:29 remaining. But we will see the Trojans punt it away.
We think, Cole, we already saw a fake early. We saw a fake by Creekside. Maybe Ribault's going to do the same thing in this situation.
And we've got Brendan Mcmillan back to return it for Creekside. You would think this would be a setup as a return for the Knights. Almost got to it again. Yusuf Zada almost got a hand on it. This time, punt checks up and bounces back into Trojans territory. Touchdown at the 46-yard line. With 5:18 to play, this is now all about the clock for Creekside.
You know, you like that kind of backspin when you're playing golf, not when you're punting. You know, they've been punting. Ribault, last couple times they've gotten a roll. This time, checks up. Hey, Creekside's got the ball, and there's just 5 minutes left on the clock. Let's see if they can put together a long, sustained drive here and really exert their will as an offense.
You would expect that Preston Strope would be a big part of the focus of the Ribault defense here. 16 carries, 96 yards for the senior from Creekside. And he's in there next to Jacob Denny, who's gone all the way at quarterback for the Knights. Give it to Strope. Breaks one tackle, pushes forward to the 40-yard line, gain of 5, maybe 6. And that'll push him over the 100-yard mark as the rain picks up here at Bolles, falling for the second time here in the second half.
You like power football, you like a running back like Preston Strope. That was just raw horsepower coming at you, breaking tackles, running hard, pick up 6 yards.
Second down and a short 5. Strope again. Not much running room this time. Flag comes flying in right into the middle of the line after the second down run. Strope before that run, 16 carries, 101 yards.
Remain second down.
The hold will push the Knights back. Not as concerned likely of the penalties right now, other than it stops the clock.
Yeah, you don't want to stop the clock if you're Creekside. You want to keep things going. You want to keep the ball in bounds. You want things to just kind of slowly grind. Every offense that's out there has this 4-minute drill that they do where they really try to milk things along the way. As opposed to a 2-minute, they're trying to milk it. And stopping the clock with a penalty is not what you want to do. Getting a little more rain here, Cole. It's starting to come down a little bit out
It
here.
is. Give it to Strope again, running left, and a lot of white shirts grabbing on to number 24.
Cole, Ribault has done a great job containing Strope today. They really have keyed on him. They haven't allowed him to really have any of those big breakout runs that he likes to have. They've gang tackled him. They've made all of his sledding, every yard he's gained, he has earned through raw power.
20 carries, 105 yards, but no carry longer than 15 yards in the game for Strope. As you said, Ribault has made him earn it. 3rd and 11, maybe 12 here. Fake it to Strope. Denny will take it himself. Back to the line of scrimmage, maybe a yard further than the original line of scrimmage. Fourth down coming up as we go inside 3.5 minutes to play in the ball game.
Past the original line of scrimmage. And fourth down. Timeout on the field.
And there's timeout with 3:22 remaining.
You know, Claus, the rain begins to fall a little bit more. We've seen special teams make some be part of this game and really have changed some momentum back and forth. This is one of those situations. If you're Creekside, have you worked on your wet ball drill? Does your punter know how to catch a wet ball coming at him? You've got a guy out of Yusuf Zada who's a defensive tackle, defensive end by profession, but arguably one of the better athletes for Creekside. You have him back there. I know Coach Mack trusts him to punt the ball. We saw him run the fake. Great stiff arm, great athlete. But again, when the rain starts to fall, funky things can happen.
The ponchos are coming out, as are the umbrellas. We are now officially in a weather delay. So that was a timeout on the field, not called by a team. And we are in a weather delay. Not sure if we've had any lightning.
Official timeout for weather. Teams and players may
He must leave the field 30 minutes from now.
All right, it is because of lightning.
There you go.
Lightning in the area. So a minimum 30 minutes before we could pick this game back up with 3:22 remaining in the fourth quarter. And Creekside leading 16-7. And you know that these players, particularly on Creekside, are going to be anxious to get back out there and try to finish off this game. We have just a little more business to take care of in here in this second game between Creekside and Ribault, with Creekside leading 16-7. Culpepper and former Jaguar Joe Zelenka here. The lightning delay has expired, and the players are out. They'll have a couple of minutes to get warmed up and ready to go again. And this is how we got to this point, in case you're just joining us for this one. Early on, it was the Creekside defense making the play as safety. Turned in by Vincent Aprovato, who had a big first half, Joe.
He had a fantastic first half, Cole. He was playing hard all over the field, offense, defense, even on special teams. But you know what? Ribault comes right back and throws a deep pass. Nick Jones all the way to Calvin Gilbert Jr. Great 80-yard touchdown strike, but that gets returned. Here we go again with the man that we've been talking about all day, Strope, Preston Strope.
Over 100 yards in the ballgame now for Strope, and the senior quarterback for Creekside, Jacob Denny, able to connect with Maxwell Robinson on the 60-yard touchdown on a ball that hit him right in stride. So 2 touchdowns and a safety for Creekside, the 1 touchdown for Ribault, and that's where we are, 16-7, as we are just a little over a minute away from getting the game started again with 3:22 to play in the ball game. Joe, from a player's perspective, you've sat down for 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever it is. Now you're coming back out. You have a couple minutes to warm up. Can you get warm again in just a minute or so?
You know, Cole, at my age, no. And like in the NFL, it takes you a little bit longer. The longer you play this game, it wears on your body. These guys, they've been ready to play all day long. They said, hey, we're going back on the field. They probably could have come out. They didn't need to run back and forth. They don't need to stretch. They're like your dog jumping off the couch, running after a squirrel. They're ready to go right away. But, yeah, it's tough because you're mentally locked in as the game's going on. And here we are. You've got to sit down. You're hanging out with your buddies. You lose a little bit of that focus. Who can refocus? Adversity is one of those things that challenges a team early in the season. It's a good thing to experience now because it's going to happen through the course of these next, weeks as these two teams play some really hard schedules coming on.
You see Creekside with the lead, and they lead in most of the statistical categories as well. They've outgained Ribault 283 yards to 157, and the rushing game has been the big difference maker. 159 yards on the ground for Creekside, just 38 on the ground for Ribault. Both defenses, though, have done some good things. In fact, neither team has converted a third down in this ballgame.
That's really impressive. Cole, if I wanted to describe this game as like a heavyweight bout between two guys, it's like Floyd Mayweather versus George Foreman. You've got a big slugger in Creekside who's just kind of pounding away, and then you've got Floyd who's moving it back and forth, striking when he needs to strike, playing good defense, blocking punches. This has been a fun game to watch. Two polar opposite type teams who are putting on a show for the First Coast to watch.
Yeah, sometimes it's styles that make the fight, right?
Yes, absolutely.
That's what we've had here. As you see, Marlon White there. there, and Sean McIntyre with a red hat and the headset on, the Creekside head coach, and we're just moments away from getting this game going yet again. It'll be 4th and 1 from the 45-yard line with 3:22 to play in the game, and we'll see if Creekside is going to be punting this. At least we believe the punting team's going out there.
No, it's 4th and 9.
Beg your pardon, 4th and 9, not 4th and 1, going the other way. And so it'll be a chance for Creekside to punt it away. And we did see a fake punt earlier this half by Christian Youssefzadeh, the punter and defensive end for the Knights. Nobody back right now to return this punt. Ribault will be coming after Youssefzadeh as we restart play. And he's able to get it away. Nobody back, and this one will bounce to the 5 and go into the end zone. So it'll be a touchback, and Ribault will have 3 minutes, 13 seconds, trailing by 9. Earlier in this quarter, we saw Nick Jones go out with an injury, and we've seen Jalen Houston, the quarterback, come in since then. And there is Jones right now. Does not appear like he's going to be back in the ball game.
No, when they take away your shoulder pads and helmet, that means you're probably not going to go back in the game.
Pretty good indication.
It's one of those things as a player, you need to play football. You need a helmet, which is why when you get your bell rung, nowadays, these trainers and the equipment staff, they're smart enough to take helmets from players, because knuckleheads like me back in the day, you'd get hit and you'd be like, I'm going back and out and playing some more, which has caused a lot of issues. But the player safety is key. That's why we took that break. We saw some lightning in the area. Officials called it. Everybody in the locker room, keep everybody safe. That's the most important thing. The game's supposed to be fun. It's also got to be safe.
So Jalen Houston in there with Sincere Cohen, the running back. 3:13 to play, and here we go. Ribault needs 2 scores. Quick throw to the near side. This one is caught and immediately taken down as Kevin Stokes Jr. First down.
Great throw by a young quarterback, hanging in the pocket, making a really nice throw out to the flat to Stokes Jr. And again, here in this situation, not only is moving the chains going to be a key for Ribault, but ball security. They can't put the ball on the turf. They've got to have good center quarterback exchange, hands off. Everything's got to be clean. This is where Coach White wants everybody to be perfect. He wants it to be perfect in this situation.
Houston to throw. Hit as he's throwing it, and incomplete. Got absolutely blown up from behind. Chris Huber had the pressure.
You know what? This entire Creekside defensive line, these guys have been playing off the chain all day. They are coming. They're making plays on pass plays. They're rushing the quarterback. They're hitting them. This was a great play by Huber, putting a hit on a young quarterback who, again, on the other side of it, he's hanging in the pocket. He knows pressure's coming. He hangs, tries to make a throw.
2nd and 10 with 2:35 to play. Ball at the 31-yard line of the Trojans. And another flag dropped.
False start. Number 60. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
10 penalties for 100 yards against the Trojans here in the opener.
5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
We've had a total of 18 penalties for 175 yards between these two teams. Not atypical of a high school season opener.
No, it's getting used to the flow of things. Things are a little bit different when the referees are out there throwing their yellow hankies on the ground.
Houston going to scramble with it. Gets a block on the outside, stays in bounds, and has a first down to the 44-yard line. So the scrambling of the sophomore pays dividends for the Trojans.
I love this young guy. Not only has he been making plays with his arms, but here he is. He's going to do it with his feet. And the awareness that he knows he needs to pick up a first down. Watch him here at the end. Stick the ball out, get that extra yard. He didn't know exactly how much he knew how much he needed, but he didn't know how far he ran. Great play by a young player.
Inside 2 minutes to play now. 4 wide here for the Trojans. Smith-Williams in motion. They'll roll Houston to the right. Throws and a jump ball. Neither could come down with it. It's incomplete. Kenneth Fett out there being defended on the play by Walter Stovall. Both looked like they had a shot at the ball. Neither one came away with it.
This is just one of those things. You throw the ball up. Whoever wants it more comes up with it. Both the guys wanted it a whole lot, so the ball ended up on the ground.
1:28 to go. Houston with 3 receivers right. 1 to the left. Throwing again. Middle of the field. Tipped and incomplete. Again, it was Jordan Smith-Williams. Ball fluttered to him a bit.
It did flutter, but he found that little pocket between where the linebackers had dropped and where the safety was, where the secondary was. He found that little pocket, a little bit less flutter on the ball, and that's a completed pass, and the chains are moving, and this drive goes on.
Again, our next game will feature 2 Clay County teams, Orange Park and Oakleaf. Houston again to throw it. And a little off the mark. Kevin Stokes got a hand on it but couldn't haul it in. Now 4th and 10 with 1:16 to play, and this could be the last chance for Ribault.
If Stokes could have caught that, that would have been the catch of the weekend. That would have been on, your sports all night long, Cole. That would have been a great catch. Hey, it's one of those things. You've got a young quarterback. He's trying to move the ball. He's got 4th down. You got to go for it in this situation. You have no choice.
Last gasp for the Trojans here with 1:16 to play. Houston loads up, throws a wobbler. It is knocked away, incomplete.
Jake Thorpe again. This guy is a senior. He's a returning starter, cornerback. They put him on an island because he likes to play on an island. Great play. He goes up, highest point. He can't make a play, but he's going to make sure that the offense can't make a play again.
1:09 to play, and Creekside is just a fraction away from winning this one, thanks in part to the Moe's play of the game. Jacob Denny to Maxwell Robinson, 60 yards for the touchdown. One of 2 touchdowns by the Creekside offense, and that is our Moe's play of the game. Much like their award-winning catering, this play was a great call.
Cole, when I go to Moe's, I like the queso because it's smooth. That play from Creekside was smooth as can be.
Two or 3 snaps here, all that separates Creekside from a season-opening victory, but a whistle at the snap.
Timeout. Ribault.
Ribault calling timeout with 1:01 to play in the game. It's a CSI timeout. Okay. Let's take a look at our player of the game. Brought to you by Puro Clean. And tonight, Vincent Approbato cleaned up for Creekside. First on defense with the safety there. Made a bunch of plays from his linebacker position. Also caught a pass as a tight end. But Vincent Approbato is our Puro Clean player of the game.
Vince played at a fantastic game. Some tackles for losses. Set the tone early with that tackle in the end zone for a safety. He's been all over the field. Ironman football for this kid. Tough football player. Really great game. Great way to start off your season.
Marlon White is not going quietly on this one. He's going to use his timeouts as needed. And penalty marker now.
Offense, number 8. 5-yard penalty. Still 1st down.
We just jinxed Vincent Approbato. We give the player of the game, and then that.
Well, you got to add to the stats. Yeah. When you're the player of the game.
A little bit of everything.
Absolutely. I just wanted to hear his name again on TV. When I was playing, I always tried to stand behind the head coach because you knew they were going to show the head coach.
Yeah.
And so, or you find the guy who made the mistake, you find him because he's going to go on camera too.
It's a veteran move.
Absolutely.
53 seconds to play now. Give it off to Preston Strope again, right up the middle. Strope holding on to the football, and Dives forward onto a pile of Trojans to the 35.
Cole, that is just old school power football. Right up the middle, 3 yards in a cloud of dust. I don't even know if they had a blocking scheme, kind of that old wedge play. Just go, let the big horse run, and he did. Holding onto that ball, carrying people, moving forward.
2nd and a yard, and one more snap is all that's needed. So Creekside settles into the victory formation. There's the kneel down.
Football right there.
There it is, and Creekside will emerge with a season-opening 16-7 victory over the Ribault Trojans here in Game 2 of the WWGA Bolles City Showcase. We thought it'd be a tight one, and indeed it was. A little longer than we expected with the lightning delay, but Creekside with a 9-point win to open the season. Sean McIntyre's team starts the season with a victory, and the Creekside head coach is standing by with Donna Murphy.
Thanks, Cole. All right, Coach McIntyre, you got your first win. It was a hard-fought game, especially against this tough defense. Talk about your team.
Yeah, definitely not my win. Those are the guys that went out and worked today and earned it. Offensively, when we went forward, we shot ourselves up the foot and went backwards. Defensively, we gave up one big play, and that's our thing. I thought we were pretty good on special teams today, and that's what winning football looks like. So we've got to clean up the stuff on offense and make sure that we finish drives better, and we'll get that taken care of. I'm proud of our kids' effort. They didn't relent. Coach White did a great job. His kids played really hard, and it was a really fun game, really great environment.
How hard was that weather delay right towards the end?
Our kids locked back in. Our thing this year is unfinished, and I called upon our seniors. I said, this is your thing. We have 3 minutes and 22 seconds left to finish this game. Let's go. And the seniors led us the way, and we didn't lose an ounce of intensity and focus, and that's because we have 30 seniors who are great kids who take pride in being unfinished this year.
Thank you so much, Coach. All right, back to you, Cole.
All right, Donna, thank you very much. Well, Joe Zelenka, as our Baker Sporting Good post-game report, got to be pleased if you're Creekside to start with a win and something to build on for Ribault.
You know what? We saw two really good football teams that we will be talking about all season long. Creekside and Ribault, two completely different football teams. Creekside comes away with the W, but Ribault has nothing to be ashamed of. You know, Michael Jordan has the old saying, you either win or you learn. I think Ribault's walking away with a book full of knowledge. Coach White has these guys working hard. It's going to be a great season for them.
Well, it was a victory for Creekside as St. Johns County gets the victory over Duval in this one. 16-7, the final score. Creekside with a victory. Stick around, though. We're not far away from the final game of the WWGA Bolles City Showcase, an all-Clay County affair with Orange Park and Oakley coming up from the Bolles School campus. You'll see it right here on Channel 4.